6-7. Hold on, I've got something for that. 1 second. 1 second.
Six, seven on a Merry Christmas, 6-7 on a Merry Christmas, 6-7 on a Merry Christmas, skibbity New Year.
There we go. Appreciate them cutting the TikTok bloop out at the end. Make it stop. You're fine. You're fine. Accept the monoculture, okay? Imagine still being one of those guys who refuses to say dog, you know? Because, like, prior to the 1990s, it was like a AAVE thing. You're like, the kids these days, they say dog, you know? And you're like, nah, not me. Get with the times. Looking sharp, I like the jacket. Nice try, but it's a cardigan. It's beginning to feel like Christmas. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Now all the trans girls are dogs? That's true. Insufferable, that. But, you know. How you all doing? Merry Christmas Eve. Can you believe it? A whole year has passed since the last Christmas Eve. I managed to find a little break in my busy holiday schedule of cooking, wrapping presents, you know, cleaning up the house. Watched Klaus with my beautiful partner. First time I'd actually seen it. I've been wanting to see it for years. I just never got around to it. Great movie. Really unnecessary third act betrayal twist, and also terrible musical choices. But apart from that, good movie. Happy Kwanzaa. Is it Happy Kwanzaa or Merry Kwanzaa? Also, follow-up question, what the fuck is a Kwanzaa? Does anyone know? You mentioned Noita the other day. Are you playing There's Been a Resurgence? No, I'm not playing. One more trip around the sun. Specifically an African-American thing, if I recall correctly. Okay, but like, I have never known a black person who celebrates Kwanzaa. So like, what subcategory, what, you know what I'm, like, it's not all African-American people, obviously, because they mostly celebrate Christmas. So I don't know. Jamaican? Is it like a Creole thing or something? I don't know. I don't know. It was a psyop by one guy, if I recall correctly. Gotcha. It's we lost all our culture, so here's an average interpretation. That's kind of lame. Like, African Americans are responsible for fucking 80% of American culture. You know what I mean? You landed like you stuck the landing. You know what I mean? How much culture do you need? American music, art, movies. I mean, you've got your hands in a lot of pies. Kwanzaa was created in 1966 by Dr. Malana Karenga as a response to the cultural disconnection. Okay, this is it's I don't know if anyone celebrates this. I mean, it's great if you want to, you know, whatever. That's cool. River. By Dr. Yakub. Everything is from Dr. Yakub. So what is this? What have I been linked? Who's linking? Hello?
The Kennedy family is up in arms today, united in outrage at the renaming of the Kennedy Center to the Trump Kennedy Center.
It is Trump's name first, then Kennedy's second.
The signage was attached.
I mean, makes it pretty easy to detach later. Would you prefer them take down the original lettering and, like, rearrange it? At least now, next administration can just slap it down. If they choose to, you know, Democrats being the massive fucking pussies that they are, they might choose to keep it up.
To the building Friday. It now reads the Donald J. Trump and the John F. Kennedy Memorial Center for the Performing Arts. The president claims he was taken by surprise.
Well, I was honored by it. The board is a very distinguished board, most distinguished people in the country. And I was surprised by it, and I was honored by it.
The name on the center's website also changed moments after the board, hand-picked Trump loyalists, voted unanimously to rename the Kennedy Center. But Congresswoman Joyce Beatty, an ex officio board member, says she was put on mute when she tried to speak out at the board meeting.
That's so fucking funny.
And as I tried to push my button to voice my concern, to ask questions, and certainly not to vote in support of this, I was muted. Each time I tried to speak, I was muted.
Maria Shriver, JFK's niece, says she's speechless, enraged, in a state of disbelief. Next thing, perhaps, he will want to rename the Lincoln Memorial the Trump Lincoln Memorial.
I mean, yeah, it's like it's not at all impossible that he does that. It's, I don't know, what do you call it, like a coin flip? Maybe? It could happen. Don't give him any ideas. He should do it. I think it'd be funny.
Does the board even have the power to do this?
The center was designated by an act of Congress in 1964, 2 months after JFK's assassination, as a living memorial to President John F. Kennedy.
Only Congress can rename the Kennedy Center. The wannabe king and his sycophantic minions can't do it.
MS Now's Joe Scarborough has this prediction.
If he does, his name will be torn off the building the first day he's out of office.
I don't know, man. 50-50, he renames the Lincoln Memorial. 50-50, Democrats don't tear down the Trump from the Kennedy Center. We'll see how it plays out, I suppose. You know the report that CBS pulled can now be watched on Cory Booker's YouTube channel? Yeah, I think I saw that. It's not the full thing, it's like part of it. Do you want to watch it during the stream? No! CBS is relentlessly taking down the uploads of their documentary everywhere. Why on earth would I want that big target centered on my stream? Come on. Good lord. Do you think in-universe minions right now would serve Trump, Netanyahu or something? Nah, Putin. For sure, Putin. Putin is, like, very Groot-coded in a lot of ways. I just, to me, that's just like a pure aesthetic association right there. And it's good. And it's good. What about Xi? Nah. Xi Jinping, by virtue of being interested in nation building, is objectively less evil than the other people listed here. He's the only guy of Trump, Netanyahu, Putin, and Xi Jinping. Xi Jinping is the only one interested in having, like, a functioning China a century from now. That's crazy. Am I crazy, or is that 60 Minutes interview, or 60 Minutes documentary going over stuff we already knew? It's not. No, there's a lot of new information there. So yes, you are crazy. Now, it is providing information on stuff that we could have intuited, which is abuse and rape and so on, but that's not the same as having actual evidence of those things. Well, he did still do a genocide, but nobody's perfect. Yeah, but if you think about it, Trump and Netanyahu are both trying to do, like, an actual genocide, and Putin's definitely doing a genocide-y shit with, like, Ukrainian kids or whatever, but the cultural genocide of the Uyghur Muslims is one step below on the moral... I'm not trying to do oppression Olympics. I'm only saying that, you know, unlike with the Palestinians, the Uyghur Muslims have not been subjected to, like, a World War volume of bombing, to my knowledge. She's strongest soldier? Yeah. Two bad bitches. Didn't China fail to follow through with that on some level due to international pressure? Kind of. They did a lot of really bad stuff, hyper-surveillance, racist policing, re-education camps, so on. But they dialed it down over time, I think, in large part because it wasn't really a good investment, and it was drawing a lot of negative press, and it just didn't really seem like worth it in the long run, I guess. I mean, we've done that, right? We did a whole bunch of Islamophobic shit after 9/11, like the FBI trying to pin cases on people, or like fucking entrapping, you know, middle school student Muslims or whatever. Hey, kid, don't you want to build a bomb? And we leaned off it a little bit, not necessarily because the FBI got less Islamophobic, but I guess they just other things they wanted to focus on, you know? Still, that shit definitely happened in Xinjiang. Yeah, it's not great. Because it worked and was mostly completed. I mean, it worked in the sense that it tamped down on probably some of the more like militant resistance and independence-minded people in the Xinjiang province, yeah. Hype died down, vibes were off. The vibes were super off on the Uyghur Muslim genocide, yeah, for sure. Vibes were way off on that one. Would you do a foreign trip to China if the opportunity presents? I've always wanted to go to China. Yeah, for sure. Seems like there's a lot of cool stuff happening there. Kind of curious. I've always wondered where like the other half, you know, how they're doing, what they're up to. It's curious. I mean, it's not really like a PR thing or anything. And I can be your guide. Yeah. I'm curious what you'd say about it. I think that, like, to a large extent, I would probably be upset going there because it would be frustrating to see that it is possible to build infrastructure and we just choose not to. Like, it would really suck to be in a big town square and I'd be like, you know, oh, when was this place built? And they were like, yeah, we built it like 3 years ago or something. And be like, okay, fuck. We don't even build new cities in America anymore. We don't. We genuinely don't. We've stopped, like, the traditional way of building a new city, which is like you have a like loggers go out there or a trading post for miners or something, and then the railroad connects to it, and then people start building some houses nearby for convenience. Then you blink 100 years go by and it's a big thriving town. We don't really do that anymore, you know? Yeah, and their bridges also collapse after 5 years. I don't think that's true. I'm sure that, like, on average, the quality of Chinese infrastructure varies massively. It's a big country, but I think that, like, they build their stuff, you know? Also, we're not really in a position to criticize them for collapsing infrastructure. You know? It's getting rough over here. Actual unsubstantiated stereotype. It's partially substantiated. I know that there have been systematic issues with the quality of some producers of Chinese steel and concrete that have led to internal scandals and so on, you know? I guess, like, the reason we're not seeing that over here is simply because we don't make anything. So we don't even get the opportunity to fuck up making anything, right? The only new construction in the United States is like overpriced residential McMansions or whatever. It's like suburban development, you know? We're not out here building like new bridges, new massive infrastructure. So fuck, maybe if we did, we would also run into a bunch of problems with steel quality and concrete quality or whatever. But as long as we're not building anything, it's kind of a, you know, Schrodinger's cat. Who knows? What the hell? Subs and Soda, my understanding was that that bridge collapse specifically that you're referring to wasn't because of the quality of the bridge. It was because aggressive expansion and construction drove them to build a bridge in an area that was geotechnically unsuitable for a bridge. Isn't that what happened? It wasn't that the bridge itself was bad. It was that they shouldn't have built it there, which is kind of different, right? I mean, that's, if anything, that's like aggressive overexpansion. But that's just one example of many, many. Okay, well, I'm not going to do a point-by-point debunking of whatever, because you're lucky the first example that you cited to prove your point is one I'm familiar with and had a counter-argument for, but maybe the next one I won't know about, and then I'll have to go on Wikipedia. No, thank you. No, thank you. Wikipedia, honestly. Grok, does China know how to build bridges? Maybe. Bridges are supposed to adapt to the conditions, so it's a quality issue? Not necessarily. There are some places where you just can't build a bridge, you know? Sometimes it is what it is. You just can't, you know? Make it more rigid. Make it heavier so it doesn't move around and more rigid so it doesn't wiggle. One source of delight for me in terms of solving this kind of engineering problem is that over here in Seattle, I sit right next to two of the world's largest floating bridges, which are exactly what they sound like. Can I get like big images? Thank you. They span Lake Washington, and they literally just sit on big like floating bubbles of concrete. Like they're floating. They're not attached to the bottom. You could dive down and swim under it. There's nothing connecting it to the bottom. And the reason they can't connect it to the bottom is because Lake Washington is super deep, and the sediment down there is not very agreeable. Like they would have to build like 800-foot tall pillars. You know? Not really doable. Look how big it is. There's Seattle. Fuck that, we have to make it more rigid. It's not very rigid. How does that float? How does that work? It literally just floats. It just floats. There's no... There are concrete like buoys filled with air, and they just float. What about boats? Boats have to cross at the edges here where they connect higher up. They're building a train line across this one right here, actually. This is an older photo. They're connecting the light rail here. It's going to connect Seattle and Bellevue. They've been meaning to open it for years. Oh, I know, just a normal duck. I know. First stage of annexing? God willing. God willing. Look at that, huh? What a beaut. Love that infrastructure. One of the reasons they're able to do this, of course, is because it's a lake, so there's not a bunch of turbulence in the water. If there was a bunch of turbulence, a floating bridge would not be doable. Seattle might be the only city building actual infrastructure. Actually, Seattle is one of the few American cities that's putting real effort into it right now. I think it's only going to get better now that Katie Wilson is due to be inaugurated as our mayor in just a couple of days. How high above the water does it float? Does the bridge get wet? You can see right here. If you got out of the car and you walked over to the edge, you're probably like 10 to maybe 20 feet above the water. But the bridge doesn't get wet, no, because again, it's just a lake, so the wind never makes waves high enough for it to really be an issue. Even on very stormy, choppy days, I haven't seen it. They do close the bridge during storms, though. I have never seen the bridge, the 90, closed during a storm. Maybe like really bad ones, but I've driven across in pretty bad weather. So I'm sure there are some weather conditions where they would have to close it. That milk jug femboy meme, but it's a boy holding up a bridge. That's good. That'd be like a good drawing if there are any artists who want to work on that. Somebody please fucking help me. And it's like 50 giant concrete bubble femboys in a row, all holding up the 90. I just wish it wasn't a toll that cost like $7 to get across. That's the northern bridge. We're looking at the southern bridge right now. The 90, the one that doesn't have a toll. But yes, I agree. The fact that the northern bridge has a toll is very unfortunate. Do you guys not have tornadoes in Washington? Not really. I'm sure it's happened once or twice, but no, not really. What happens if you can't pay the toll? Toll bridges don't stop you anymore, at least not usually. You drive through, and a license plate reader reads your license plate, and then they send the bill to the address associated with the plates in the car. And then if you don't pay it in 30 days, they kill you. Toll roads are good for society? No. This one's pretty bad, I think. Hold on, I can just show you. I was thinking, like, can I get a photo of that from above? But I literally can just go to maps, you know? These are the two. See, Lake Washington is skinny, north-south, and this is the 90, and this is free, and this is the one they're building the light rail on. And it connects to Mercer Island, which is this chunk right here, and then over here to Bellevue. And then there's this one, the Northern Bridge, the 520, which is a toll road. And they've been building this recently. They've been extending it. It's this whole like loop over here, this really complicated network, and they've actually done a really good job pedestrianizing a lot of this. These are old satellite photos. It's a lot greener now. It looks pretty good, to be honest. Like walking, biking around here, it looks pretty good. And you pass over Foster Island, which is pretty cool to look at, and then you yeah, it's all toll road and go over here. But this shouldn't be a toll road. It just shouldn't be. It's the only way to get over to Bellevue, unless like you live anywhere over here. You have to drive all the way down here, then go over here, then go all the way up. Just not, it shouldn't be a toll road. Shouldn't be a toll road. But if it wasn't a toll road, it wouldn't have gotten built, so. What's the name of that off-ramp that is a sharp curve that people wreck on often? Oh, that is the I-5 South Union exit, which should be... It's one of these. It's one of these. 6th Avenue, James, Cherry Street, Columbia, Marion, Madison, Spring. Where is it? Union. Here we go. This one right here. Where this yellow line, see this yellow line where my mouse is? Can you see it? Okay. Here's the exit. Dark tunnel. Dark tunnel. Slow down, slow down, slow down, slow down. Red light. There's a light right here. That's the one where a lot of people skip, or they skid out. Why are there so many lanes? It's the 5. It's one of the biggest highways in America, you know? This road kills the white man. White man has been here, and it's like a native guy touching a smoking car wreck on I-5 and Union. Well, anyway. Phone shop. Doesn't that exit also have like 17 signs telling you to slow down before the exit? It has 2. Look, I've never spun out there, okay? However, it is a badly designed exit, you know? I think that you have to be an idiot to spin out there. However, most people are idiots some of the time. So you want to like idiot-proof roads as much as you can. You get me. You get me. Well, sorry, finishing that cough drop. It's gonna be a pretty short stream today. Because it's fucking Christmas Eve, obviously. So I'm just gonna run it through for a bit. You know? Keep it silly style. No biggie. You understand. You got it, boss.
Oh, wow.
Go ahead.
You love video games?
On him.
Yes.
Right.
I hope he will be right.
Go
I hope
ahead.
the dreams come true.
Has a tracker on him.
Okay.
Well, we track Santa all over the world. We want to make sure that Santa is being good. Santa's a very good person. We want to make sure that he's not infiltrated, that we're not infiltrating into our country a bad Santa. So we found out that Santa is good.
Thank you. Bye.
Santa loves you. Santa loves Oklahoma like I do. You know, Oklahoma was very good to me in the election, so I love Oklahoma. Don't ever leave Oklahoma, okay?
Holy shit. Just talking to a 5-year-old. Oh my god. That's so funny.
And Santa is currently in for Copenhagen, Denmark.
Whoa, that's pretty good.
Merry Christmas. You too.
Hi, how are you?
Thank you. Merry Christmas, Mom.
This is Krill.
Hi,
I'm
Krill.
from Pennsylvania.
Right, I know. Oh, Pennsylvania's great. We won Pennsylvania. Actually, 3 times, but we won Pennsylvania. We won it in a landslide, so I love Pennsylvania. So Santa right now is in Copenhagen.
Jesus fucking Christ, man. He's so funny. Oh no.
Good. I'm fine. You sound so beautiful and cute. How old are you?
I'm 8.
Wow, so smart. You sound so smart.
You sound so grown up for your age. He can't help himself. He just can't help. He can't. Do you think someone after this talked to him and were like, "Sir, considering the state of things, could you please not give them ammunition?" Like he's forgotten about it or whatever. Sir, can you please shut the fuck up? Can you just for once, can you please shut the fuck up? Oh my God. He wants to own it so bad. Oh, desperately, desperately, desperately. Ah, there are no more clips from that. Ah, I want more clips from that. C-SPAN. Oh, C-SPAN. Come on, it should still be live right now. I beg of you, C-SPAN, please. Oh, it's never on their YouTube. It's never on their YouTube. It's always on the website, and the website's old. It's old, and it's crooked, and it's creaky. I don't know, guys. There's a lot of buttons here. What do you think I have to click on to get to the... Oh, here it is. It's literally right here. I'm stupid.
Beach, Florida, President Trump is helping take calls on the annual NORAD Santa Tracker hotline. You're watching live coverage here on C-SPAN.
How much do you think they had to pre-screen these calls? Like, to make sure that they wouldn't get anyone extremely angry and belligerent and not pro-Trump on the other side? Because they definitely screen them. Like, there's no way they're risking a live call with the president.
Hello.
Well, thank you very much, General. Very good. We have the First Lady here. And I think she'll be answering calls separately, actually. She'll be talking to some, I'll be talking to some.
Great vibes in here. You know what I love to see on this holly jolly family holiday? The president and first lady sitting 6 feet apart from each other, practicing like proper COVID distancing, you know? Not even, like literally facing away from each other. It looks so weird.
Hello, good evening.
To Descent North America to track Santa. Before we connect you to each caller, a member of our team will briefly share the child's first name.
Like, to give you an idea of how weird it looks, I remember, here's Joe Biden and Joe Biden together on the same couch, knees touching, while doing the NORAD calls. Wow, a loving couple. Yeah, I mean, you know, for all the criticism that you can level at one or both of them, they do seem to actually like each other. Joe Biden is a relatively sincere person, you know, by the standard of higher-ups in the Democratic Party.
Age and city and state where they're calling from, as well as they'll give you Santa's current location. Then there's going to be a brief pause as we connect the child's call, and then they'll be...
Yes.
I am now connecting you to Anastasia, who is 4 years old, and Jasper, who is 10 years old. They live in Sepulta, Oklahoma, and Santa is currently headed for...
What did you ask Santa to bring you?
Go ahead, you can take your time.
Oh, wow.
Go ahead.
You love video games?
on him.
Yes.
Right.
I hope he will be right.
Go
I hope
ahead.
the dreams come true.
That has a tracker on him.
Okay.
Well, we track Santa all over the world. We want to make sure that Santa is being good. Santa's a very good person. We want to make sure that...
Like, why have both of them do this, you know? Like, wouldn't it look less weird if Melania was just sitting next to him and not talking? They really don't like to have her talk because it reminds everyone that she's very foreign, you know? And probably, I don't know, met Trump through Epstein, because they both knew Epstein. And so, for the most part, like you would think it would just have Trump talk. Like, having both of them talk and then sit apart from each other, facing away. I don't know.
He's not infiltrated. That we're not infiltrating into our country a bad Santa. So we found out that Santa is good. Santa loves you.
He's
Santa
not with
loves
Tren de
Oklahoma like I
Aragua.
do. You know, Oklahoma was very good to me in the election.
All right.
So I love her tonight. Leave you a lot of beautiful presents, like really beautiful presents. What do you want more than anything else? What present would you like?
Hello, Emily. Hello. Merry Christmas.
Wow, a dollhouse. I think we can work that out. I have a feeling, Mommy, that we can work that out, right?
Family.
I think Santa's going to bring you the most beautiful dollhouse you've ever seen, okay? Let me know how good the dollhouse is, but we owe a lot to Santa, so I think Santa will fulfill your wish, okay?
I look forward to it too. So,
Thank you, honey. Take care of yourself. Merry Christmas. Say hello to Oklahoma. We love Oklahoma, okay? Thank you.
All right, Merry Christmas. Thank you.
Thank you, darling. Thank you very much. Okay, next.
Emily, you hear me?
Do you think Nick Fuentes will do stuff like this when he's president? You mean like, but without a first lady, presumably, right? That would be funny as fuck. And I think that he would have to, right? It'd be funnier than this.
I figure you should hear some of this, otherwise you're not going to know what's going on.
Hasn't it been a while since Melania would even let him touch her? She's literally swatted his hand away multiple times. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, we know she hates him. It's just, you know, why even have her here if they're going to be this weird, you know?
Maybe she's shy, right?
And she's very good at not listening to this. She's very focused. First Lady's very focused. Okay, you can go ahead. Next one. General?
I think it will be when it will be very dark. Very
Yes,
late
Mr. President,
tonight
we're about
when
to
it
drop
will
the
be
next
dark.
one into your line.
Yes, so I think it's best if they go to sleep. Emily, it's best if you go to sleep, and then Santa will arrive to your house.
Do you like this better, hearing it? It's better for you. And she's able to focus totally without listening to this. Lisa's
so fucking weird. Like, you chose to do that. You didn't have to. Trump is like, no. It makes sense for you to have one recording of both of us talking on separate calls. But you can only hear the other end of my call. But also next to me is another person talking. You know?
Well, you know what's happening.
It's really normal.
Mr. President, rebuke him.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you very much.
Mr. President, we're passing you to Susanna. She's 8 years old and she's from Salisbury, North Carolina.
Good. Hi, how are you? Merry Christmas.
It is.
Hi, how are you?
Yes, correct.
Hi, how are you doing? Okay?
Christmas to you and your family.
Yes.
Oh, that's
How
good.
are you?
I'm fine. You sound so beautiful and cute. How old are you?
I'm 8.
Wow, so smart. You sound so smart. So do you have a question for Santa, or do you want to know anything about Santa?
So I do have another question.
Go ahead.
So, I don't know. So, will Santa ever get mad if we don't leave him out any cookies?
This was getting
tougher journalism than Trump is used to being subjected to. You know, the White House press corps has not put him in a position like this in quite a long time. What? Hey, whoa! What did I click? I just clicked. What did I click?
Beach, Florida.
No!
President Trump.
I want to know.
Mr. President, we're.
How are you doing? So.
Get mad if we don't.
We got it back.
This
We got
was
it back.
getting good. No, go ahead, say it again, honey. Go ahead. Will Santa ever get mad?
Will Santa ever get mad if we don't leave him out any cookies? Thank you.
I think he won't get mad, but I think he'll be very disappointed. You know, he tends to be a little bit on the cherubic side. You know what cherubic means? A little on the heavy side. I think Santa would like some cookies. You'd like to leave some cookies for Santa, right?
Merry Christmas.
Yes.
But you're not going to forget. You'll leave some. I would leave them. I think Santa has a serious appetite.
Yes.
Right? And it's so good to talk to you. Are you looking for something specific from Santa? What would you like to have as a present?
Are you waiting for Santa?
I don't think they know for anything.
Right, that's nice, honey. Well, you just take care of
I
yourself.
love that separate
North
audio.
Carolina is a
Sounds
great
really
place.
good.
It's a great place.
Yes.
And you have you're surrounded by great people and great parents, and say hello to them, okay?
He will be very hungry when he
Okay.
Thank you, honey. Take care of yourself. Good. Say hello to Santa if you should see him. Goodbye. Bye.
Santa is a little cherubic. God, it's so fucking funny, man. Jesus Christ. Vosh, when you say the creeping disease of liberalism is the root of population issues in the Western nations, what do you mean by that? Did I stutter? I feel like it... What do you mean? What do you mean? What do I mean? I feel like it encompasses the concept pretty well. Trump does NORAD calls. I cannot fucking type. What did he mean by this? What did they mean by this? District Attorney's Office says it won't use statements Luigi Mancione made state. Oh, okay, yeah. I saw this. This is older. Like, define the creeping disease of liberalism in that sentence? Well, I'm when I say the creeping disease of liberalism, I'm just using negative terms to describe liberalism. I mean liberalism, right? Like the disease of it. It spreads. It's very popular these days. Even illiberal countries are liberal. It's crazy, you know? Even those that seek to critique capital end up being, you know, its agents instead. I think he's asking what is wrong with liberalism. Well, that's a whole goddamn conversation, isn't it? That's a very broad topic. I'm not gonna, you know, do myself a disservice by compacting that one into a couple sentences. Why is liberalism related to population decline apart from economics? Isn't economics enough? Economics is a pretty big deal. But there are social elements to it as well, for sure. 100%. Yeah. I think hyper-individualism probably is to the detriment of, you know, our ability to reproduce in the long run. You know, the absence of family values, legitimate family values. But there's a lot that goes into it, you know. So we have to be collectivists. Collectivism is a fake word. It doesn't mean anything. What is collectivism? When you collect things? What is communism? When you live in a commune? I don't know. Nobody knows. What do we need? Collectivism is when people donate to you. That's fucking facts, though. For sure. 100%. Absolutely. You said it. Mm-hmm. What am I looking at right now? Hey, he's getting off? No, the DA throwing out a couple statements that Mangione made does not mean that he's getting off. They wouldn't let him go that easily. While out from that. Okay. Somebody linked an interview with Hunter Biden on the Sean Ryan show. This is a 5.5-hour video. Stream VOD. That's crazy. Is the whole thing the interview? Was it just like a marathon? I guess it was like a marathon.
It's about politics right now. And we don't do that. And I really to do the thing. So
this is the longest interview anyone's ever done. Jesus Christ. I can't go over all this. Go over this, but I don't want to. You see LimeWire, of all things, helped that canceled 60 Minutes episode get out? That's nice. That's a blast from the past. Did you ever watch that Channel 5 interview with Hunter Biden? Yeah, I don't remember being particularly happy with it. Speaking of, a Channel 5 video is one of the things that I've had sitting in my tabs for a while, I guess 4 days, or less than 4 days, potentially. How to get so strong in pull-ups that it feels like cheating. Well, that's helpful, you know. Sorry, that's the video right there, you know. That could be useful. God willing.
Lived in a black neighborhood for quite a while. I saw how they treated white people.
That's rough, buddy.
It's not very good, and yet all the hate is on white males.
You would get beat up if you said something racial to a black person.
Mm-hmm. You saw that happen?
Yes.
They said something like, man, the hood ain't the hood anymore, as in like they were unhappy with my response.
Almost exclusively white communities exist all around the United States off of paper merely because of socioeconomics, and that if you are wealthy enough, everyone who becomes wealthy enough will buy into a more or less white-only gated...
Yeah. That's true. That's where wealthy white people live. In rural, all-white communes in Arkansas. Not like New York City or whatever. Jesus Christ. It's it's all grievance politics all the time. Nobody wants to build anything, you know?
Community, but I would not be able to afford that outside of...
That was a lot of unbuttoned
buttons. Only gated community, but I...
Look at that. That's crazy. What's up, man? Rocking out.
I would not be able to afford that outside of, you know, working my entire life to build up a bunch of businesses, but I would like to have kids.
I want my kids to be taught that their ancestors did great things, not that they were the villains of history.
Correct.
Rough,
and Arkansas is...
They found a woman. Holy shit. Oh, there goes half the insults I was going to throw at them. All right. There's no way they're gay now.
Nice. As far as I know, the laws are you just need to let them know that you're going to be homeschooling. And then after that, there's no like testing that you need to do, or they don't really check up on you.
The first community that really went after us was the r/Jewish subreddit. I had...
I'm noticing. That's very interesting. The first community that went after it. You mean like there was a Reddit post?
CPS come out here because they had complained to CPS trying to get my kids taken away. The health department has come out here. They just blanket made complaints to everyone. I mean, I do have Mein Kampf, but I think that's just historically relevant.
Who wrote that one?
Mein Kampf?
Yeah.
Hitler.
Oh, shit.
He's sort of the central villain of the 20th century.
Oh shit, dude. That's hardcore. Oh, man. Where'd that come from? I don't have his skill.
So if you don't understand what he thought, then you're, again, missing a big piece of history. Did he make mistakes? I believe so.
What do you think the biggest mistake was?
Come on, don't be a pussy, man. Why they always hem and haw about this? Just fucking say it. Just say you like him, okay? What is the... I mean, the funny thing is, though, and you can read it if you want to find out, Mein Kampf is super uninteresting because Hitler is legitimately, like, stupid. He doesn't understand what his movement is or what it represents. He does a very bad job of predicting where it's going to go or, like, what its effect on the world is going to be, and his justifications for it are barely distinguishable from the kind of, like shit-ass Groyper writing or whatever, you know, wow, black people were mad to me on the playground. It's grievance politics. There's not really much ideology there. It's just whiny, you know?
Invading the Sudetenland.
None of the other stuff.
The other stuff? Well, it depends on what you mean.
Just like the Holocaust and everything.
Holocaust? I don't know about all that.
Everybody thinks Genghis Khan is cool and he killed more people than Hitler. The question is like how fast that will take for Hitler to be as cool as Genghis Khan. I don't know. Total brown Gorper victory.
Ooh. Oof. When you hear it said out loud, it's like a real, yeah. How often do you think they say that on the white boy commune? You know what I mean? How often do they toss that one out? Nobody thinks about Khan at all, goddamn. Well, yeah, also nobody really like defends him that much. You don't need to engage with these pithy arguments, you know. He's lying when he says, well, Khan killed more people and people think he's cool, right? Because he doesn't like the Khan, but he does like Hitler. He's not actually arguing from a position of, well, people are historically inconsistent with death counts. You know, you're not gonna win him over by pointing out that there's a meaningful difference between what Khan and Hitler did. You know, it's just whining. Whining. Is it a bad thing these people are self-segregating? No, not at all. I think it's fine.
What's your favorite thing to cook?
I like making tacos. It's fun.
Ironic.
Despite the fact that we do have, taco nights sometimes, we also have traditional European food nights.
I really love breaded chicken, like fried chicken. I like pizza, I like typical stuff.
Look, I was a big Dr. Dre guy for like my teenage years when I was like, working out and everything like that. But then I was like, I don't think it is as soothing to my soul. And that goes back to just like anthropological data that we have about the difference between like rhythm and harmony.
Oh, fuck.
What about you?
I don't listen to rap music. I listen to gospel music.
Oh, she's more pure than you. Your soul is tainted. You're gonna burn in hell. She gets to go to Agartha or whatever.
Okay, who's your favorite gospel artist?
Probably Skillet.
You say Skrilla?
Skillet.
What do they sing about?
It's like a rock Christian band.
Okay, cool.
Hardcore, we love Jesus.
Gospel music? All right, no copyright arena.
Central Asian Caucasians.
They're not European.
Wait, what?
Live here?
They're European.
How about Central Asian Caucasians?
They're not European.
But the Caucasus Mountains, Caucasian ancestral birthplace, is technically in Central Asia.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Jesus Christ.
Some Italian Americans, like in Staten Island, think they're not white.
Oh,
they say, I'm not white, I'm Italian.
Yeah, and that has a lot to do with the historical uses of the term white. For legal reasons, I believe Italians and Irish were actually always considered white.
It's not only an ahistorical opinion, it's an a-present opinion. Because today, there are literally millions of Europeans who do not call themselves white. Americans call themselves white. White nationalists call themselves white. Tons and tons and tons of Europeans will just say, oh, I'm German, I'm Spanish, I'm Scandinavian, whatever else. They have their own terms, you know? The whole, like, whiteness as a distinct category thing only really works in the New World, where you can create a melting pot and then kind of like lazily segregate people based on skin color. In Europe, where every group of people descends from a tribe from 10,000 years ago that hates every neighboring group of similarly colored people, that doesn't work at all. Do you think during the 100 Years' War, all the Normans and the Britons were like, man, I hate those white boys across the river, across the channel? I fucking hate those white French people. I hate those white British people.
Thank you. Can you show us around, you think?
Sure, of course.
You're watching Channel 5 News, broadcasting live from the Mojave mainframe. And today, we have a special report.
Ladies and gentlemen, the USA is in the state of emergency, and that emergency is related to rapid community decline. In 2019, more than 60% of Americans thought that in-person community involvement was very important. Today, that number is beneath 27%, marking the sharpest dip in modern US history. Consequentially, loneliness is at an all-time high. 17% of Americans reportedly have no friends at all and spend the majority of their time either at work or on social media.
That's pretty rough.
In my opinion, That's bad.
I don't think we're actually collectively benefiting from being the richest country on earth so much these days.
You could drive for a half hour in any direction and still be in just more suburbs.
If there's one thing that I want people to take away from our entire Channel 5 catalog, it's that community is the most important thing on earth. Aside from helping us to meet our core emotional needs, I believe that community really is like existential therapy that helps us to deal with the dread that accompanies the human condition. From the moment that we actualize death as young children, we spend the rest of our lives coping with the fact that an eternal silence likely awaits us at the end of this strange, beautiful, and painful journey. But community, unlike life itself, offers permanence. Through a strong and continuous community, you can achieve something close to collective immortality, at least in your own mind, which helps to assuage the fear of death in a way that makes life less painful. It's deeper than getting a beer with the homies, which also is happening way less.
Oh, yeah.
We told you recently about a steep
No one drinks anymore. Everyone just smokes like the weed pens in their apartment. They don't even leave to smoke. They're not even forming the bong circle or whatever, the passage joint. I don't know. I'm not a pothead, you know. I'm sorry, Vosh, I like my liver. Then why do you smoke so much goddamn weed? That's bad for your lungs. Do you hate your lungs but like your liver? I don't smoke. Then why don't you leave your house? The lack of vitamin D is slowly killing you. Okay.
in partying among young people, 70% down.
Simultaneously, people are spending more time online than ever before. And by online, I mean on social media platforms. TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, X, and YouTube. This is only compounding the mental health effects of isolation. 40% of Americans between 18 to 22 admit to being an active social media addiction. 50% of Americans say that social media has had a negative effect on their personal relationships. 60% say it's impacted their self-esteem for the worse due to comparison. 80% admit to being deceived by social media content on a regular basis. And the average screen time...
He's really laying it on in the opening, too. I'm not saying this is unimportant. I didn't expect to watch the entire video, and you know, a lot of this is stuff I agree with. I'm interested in the interviews. You know, I didn't want to watch the entire thing, but I agree with what's being said here. I already feel like I'm content stealing. I'm just watching this silently for like 30 seconds while you're all getting an edited, like, concentrated dose of me rambling about how you guys need to go outside more often.
To the same sources of information on.
Oh my God, it's so bad. Every person on every app only ever wants to smoke at their place as a date, and it's driving me insane. Can I say something that's harsh but completely correct? If you match with somebody on a dating app or whatever social media you want to hang out, and their suggestion for the first thing that you do to hang out together is to smoke at their place or yours, I think that's a massive red flag, that they have nothing more interesting in mind, no hobby or event or anything else that they can point to besides that. Like, that's pretty crazy to me. I think it's different if it was like, you know, let's go out to the bar together, because my understanding, if I'm meeting up with a person at a bar for the first time, that's like not only a neurochemical experience, but a social one. There's an environment, there's an atmosphere, there's an engagement, you know, it goes beyond that. But I also probably wouldn't want to get fucking shit-ass drunk, you know, like I think it's mostly a social lubricant. But I know what it looks like when people are like, yeah, man, come over, we can smoke, okay? I know what the fuck that looks like, all right? That's not good, okay? It's a slippery slope. You're gonna tumble down the hill, and before you know it, your 30s will have passed by, and you won't remember a single fucking thing you did. You'll wake up one day and realize that you have exactly the same knowledge and skills that you did when you graduated college back at like 23, maybe even less because you've forgotten some. I offered to buy a girl on Tinder coffee or dinner, and she said yes and made a dad joke. That's great. Coffee's great. Dinner's great. Just Jesus Christ, no, not the come over and smoke thing, okay?
Online as well, we're like part of the same online subculture.
I primarily use
I wonder which one.
My
sorry.
algorithm is mostly right-wing political content. Nick Fuentes gets fed to me a lot.
I didn't start out nearly as identitarian as I am now. Even my own comment section, in many ways, persuaded me that this stuff is more important than I was giving credit to.
But it's important to remember that regardless of politics...
Man, even when opening up to an interviewer, these guys still can't give themselves any agency. Nick Fuentes was pushed onto my feed. Yeah, my feed had a lot of right-wing stuff. Yeah, the comment sections were pushing me more to the right. Like, gee, fuck, does it not, like, emasculate you a little bit to talk that way about yourself? I would never describe my relationship with my ideology that way. Like me being a leftist or whatever, you know? Oh yeah, I was fed a lot of leftist stuff and they were pushing me to be leftist. Like, well, no, I mean, obviously I'm influenced by my environment, but to a large extent, I made some pretty active choices along the ride and I take ownership over them, you know? I have agency. Why don't you?
All people fundamentally want the same thing in life and are just grown babies looking for somebody to play with.
We do games, traditional, like the Highland games. Those are traditional Scottish games.
Even before I lived here, I would come and visit and bring my poker set, and we would just do like very low stakes, like $5, $10 buy-in. It's just a fun night.
I wonder if they ever reflect on the fact or feel weird about like the fact that the people who partake in the Highland games, the people who still do that stuff, are probably pretty particular about its Scottish ancestry, and I bet you most of the people here are not Scottish. Like, why is a guy with Italian heritage or British heritage doing it? You know what I mean? Like, hey man, in reality, there's like a bunch of different European cultures. Very different, like really, really different. There are huge differences. Like, I would argue that on average, just ballparking it, the difference between Greek and Finnish culture, just the sheer line between those two, is probably about as distant as me and the average person in Asia or Africa. I'm just taking a guess. I would actually guess I probably have more in common culturally with almost any Latin American than the average Finnish and the average Greek person. I'm like, just, I genuinely think like that's the ballpark we're talking about here.
Blokes, grand old time, and then sword fighting is one of the things I really like to do.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
It's with that lens that I want you to watch today's documentary, which revolves around a whites-only Christian settlement in rural Arkansas called Return to the Land.
Yeah, my name is Eric Orwell. I'm the president of the Return to the Land Private Membership Association. We call it The Settlement. This is our first intentional community for people of European heritage, planning many others around the country.
Yeah, we have 3 acres, the RV and the solar system and everything.
So this is a homesteading project, pretty much.
Yeah.
Have you been able to harvest your own food?
Yeah, we've gotten a lot of tomatoes, peppers, melons.
What are the main tenets of the community?
Well, we believe in traditional European values.
What does that mean? There are a bunch of different sets of values, man. What the fuck? Like, you can go to different European countries or even different ethnic groups within those European countries and ask, like, what is your tradition for X event or X situation, or what do you celebrate this with, or how do you dress? And you're going to get different answers.
Traditional nuclear families, monogamy.
That's an American thing. The traditional nuclear families. That's a post-war suburban American development, not really a European thing. Monogamy's been around for a while.
We're not looking for the the weird whatever trans things are going on now.
Okay. Just, they're forming like a far-right, all-white cult in a homesteading project. I like the idea that if non-monogamy was introduced to the situation, it would be from trans people and not from like the leader of the cult demanding everyone turn their daughters over to him, which is what happens every other time. Like like the Jonestown shit, like every time monogamy as a social norm is broken in these cults is because the cult leader starts accumulating other people's daughters. It's not transgenderism.
Yeah, they're not for that.
Basically, what you would find in traditional European religious texts, like the New Testament, like the Havamal in Norse.
Just, you know, that European text, the New Testament, that famously
paganism.
How many people do you think live in this community right now?
Oh, we practice some Christianity. We practice some paganism. We do it all, really. I don't really see what the issue is. Yeah, we believe in Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior, etc., but we also engage in a bunch of practices that, you know, believers in Christ would have had us burned at the cross for. That's at the stake, I suppose, not the cross. That's mixing execution methods. Oh, man. It's really... Is this boring? Is it boring like every nanosecond I pause and I'm like, these guys don't know anything about anything. They're just LARPing, right? It's because we all know that. I'm just gonna let it go. I'm just gonna let it go because otherwise, it's everything they say. It's literally everything they say.
I think if you include children, something around like 35 or so.
And we've got hundreds of new people accepted just in the last, I don't know, few months.
A lot of people are concerned about.
Wait. You're gonna quintuple the size of your community in just a couple of months. Hundreds of people accepted. You have 35 right now. This will go. How long before we hear about this place in the news? Not like the CNN investigates kind of news, but the like police blotter kind of news.
Rapid demographic change, mass immigration, and just what's happening to our countries.
Why not just like go to Idaho?
Well, because I'm not just thinking about what would be convenient or easy now for us. I'm also thinking, what will the country look like for my kids and grandkids? Coeur d'Alene, I looked up the census information, and it's dropped nearly 10% of the white population in the last 20 years. That's mostly immigration.
I grew up in Montana.
Yeah. Did you notice a significant demographic shift in Montana?
Not yet, but it's happening. It won't be long.
And where'd y'all move from?
I'm from Wisconsin.
And whose idea was it?
It was his idea.
Really? I did notice that race mixed kids I didn't think looked as attractive as.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't find mixed children as pretty as the pure race. No, fine. Just whatever your
kids who were pure race, but that's anecdotal.
So going back to the very beginning, you said you grew up in Southern California?
Yeah.
What part of
that's fucking crazy, man.
The south of LA County, La Mirada.
Okay, cool.
No wonder you're racist. The puzzle piece falls into place. All right, my brother, my brother, who to whom my heart goes out.
You pretty much grew up like in a pretty diverse area.
Oh yeah, my elementary school was primarily Mexican.
Yeah.
I remember we had some kind of cultural day, and they asked where your ancestors came from, and they were writing it on the board, and it was like Mexico, 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 England, Mexico, Mexico, Mexico. Yeah. I mean, I have no other.
In LA of all places, really, it's fucking shocking. The last place you would expect to see Mexicans.
Identity I can go back to. I'm a quarter or more Norwegian, and then I'm German, and I'm English. So I can't say that I'm English. I can't say I'm German. I can't say I'm Norwegian alone. I'm not even like majority.
Really, though, like I do wonder if they ever consider the fact that if you went back a couple hundred years, the Norwegians, Germans, and English all hated each other. Like, depending on what time period you go back to, the Scandinavian people were actively like pillaging and raping the east coast of England, and the Germans were just thought of as like unruly barbarians. Well, again, it depends on what time you go back to, obviously. We still do hate each other. They still do hate each other, says many people in chat, who I have no choice but to believe, But the idea of like, oh yeah, man, I'm just from one big happy white melting pot. Yeah, I'm just white. Like, okay, like, do they think about it? I really don't know. I've always wondered, because if you ask a guy like this these questions, they get really defensive. They get like super, super defensive, and they don't actually answer. They just call you Jewish, or they say like that you're whiter than them. And this guy is whiter than me, in fairness. He does white mog me. Normally, I'm white mogging people. I'm pretty white. This guy does white mog me, but I don't think this guy thinks about it.
Any of those things. So the only identity that I have, ethnocultural identity, is as a white American. And I think that's most white Americans, actually.
It seems like the idea of white people, or whiteness that we know today that's referenced by the media or by the Associated Press, is a relatively new construction. Like talking to my grandparents who grew up in Philadelphia, you had different
racial purity in the highest DNA percentile is 15% Swedish. I just think it's rich he calls himself like racially pure or racially white, when if you go back just a couple hundred years, the fact that he's part like Swedish, English, and German would not have him being called racially pure at all. Like that would have been a big deal not that long ago. Like that would have been an interesting. Nowadays in America, it's like, oh, you have like a mix of, but like 100, 200 years ago, yeah, you would have been like a mongrel. You're a mutt. It's like, what the fuck? Your parents crossed the demilitarized zone to have sex and produce you? He would have been kicked out of like 4 neighborhoods in NYC. True. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's what he means. He identifies as white, not anything else. Okay, so like take that the next logical step. He doesn't identify as any of his specific European heritages because there are complications there, because they're not one single monoculture, but a bunch of distinct cultures. So instead he identifies as like monocultural white, but he still refers to himself as of European ancestry, which is incongruous with the previous. I'm just asking for like a little bit of introspection here. Just a fucking follow-up question or two, you know? TBH, how many people talked in terms of race before Hitler in Europe? Hitler didn't talk in terms of race. He talked in terms of ethnicity. He talked about the Aryan people. He did not talk about the white people. He had very different opinions on different kinds of white people. Go ask any Polak. It's that Hitler didn't talk about race. Well, I mean, it came up, but that was not like the driving ideological force there.
Sections of town that belong to different, very tight-knit European communities. You had the Irish neighborhood.
He did call the Japanese honorary Aryans, yeah.
It's German neighborhoods, Italian, Polish, Greek, and then with the mass influx of African Americans from the South during the Great Migrations, those lines kind of dissolved and they became a more loose unit of pan-European whites who fled the cities, and that's part of the reason that Philadelphia became so overwhelmingly black. And so now I don't know my ancestral Irish culture because it dissolved as a result of the political situation of the time. A lot of traditions have been lost throughout the process of white assimilation.
Yeah, and that's true. That's definitely part of it.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
don't think Mexican heritage has those same issues. Latinos, though, it's interesting. They come from a bunch of different indigenous backgrounds, plus the Spanish influence.
Yeah.
And they have no problem like seeing their commonality and they kind of embrace it. Like La Raza, it means the race.
Pura la raza latina.
And they're very pro this kind of unified Latino thing.
Hey guys, what's up?
No. Mexicans, Venezuelans, Colombians, Brazilians all do. Wait, I don't understand what the argument is here. Is the argument that like all of Latin America thinks they're the same people? Because that's not fucking true. Is the argument that like despite the mixed heritage within a Latin American country, there's a lot of like unity that crosses racial lines? Because that is true, but I don't see how that disproves anything that Andrew Callahan said. I don't get it. Yeah, that's the argument. Okay, well, not all Latin American communities think that they're all the same. That's just not true. I don't know what to say about that, to be honest.
I'm at the Waffle House, not too far away from the RTTL settlement. Very different vibe, but I'm happy to be here. Anyways, we were just talking about Mexico and Spanish stuff, so I figured now's a good time to tell you that Channel 5 actually has a second Spanish language channel.
Really? Oh, that's a big step. That's pretty impressive.
With all original content.
I speak American.
Check it out, like I said.
Bruckner and Brahms.
Oh, no. Tradition that he finally felt connected to.
I went to school at Eastman for French horn performance, so I'm a big fan of, Bruckner and Brahms and Strauss and Mozart and Beethoven, all that stuff.
Yeah, just all those guys. They all basically the same music,
After college, Eric's admiration for the Mozarts of the world morphed into a total obsession with Greek philosophy and ancient European history.
Those old European cultures.
Today, Europe stuff is still his primary fixation and passion.
I personally have a lot of respect for the Dutch. The Mycenaean Greeks were this big force at the end of the Bronze Age. The religious traditions of pagan Europe had valuable things to teach us. All European people are descended from 3 ancestral groups.
Just any, I love the music. Just any engagement, any questions at all on how this gels with Christianity annihilating these groups culturally. Do you think that he believes that it was a mistake for the Catholic Church largely to drive out pagan cultures and traditions, which they did, the Christian essentially extermination of pagan cultures was a pan-European genocide that reached basically to every end of the continent, and they did it in a million different ways, but they wanted to make everyone Christian. Of course they did. They also co-opted a lot of them. Yeah, it always works out that way, but we know who won, right? No one really believes in paganism anymore. we have the term paganism that describes just vaguely like 1,000 indigenous European religious practices.
Western hunter-gatherers, the steppe herders, and then from the Neolithic farmers who came from Anatolia around 9000 BC, initially into Greece, and then spreading everywhere else. As a Neoplatonist, I kind of agree with Iamblichus.
No, please.
I like Atlantis research. That's another hobby.
You think Atlantis was a real place?
100%. And they were all
Oh my God, man. Well, I guess I respect a true believer, you know?
also in Western Europe at various times.
But do you have French pride?
I'm not French.
These interests.
Well, wait, but you're white European, so don't you say you practice European tradition? What is that? Does wait, I don't understand. Are all European white cultures like the same European culture, or are there so many distinctions that you couldn't?
Ultimately led Eric into a career in philosophical content creation, beginning with his first videos over 13 years ago.
The term philosophy was first coined by Pythagoras. What we might call pleasure and pain, I think more neutrally and generally could be termed positive and negative subjective value. We can talk about that level of egotism as being a kind in its own right.
Yeah. Gradually, from 2016 on, these videos became more politicized, focusing a bit less on Plato and metaphysics and more on a shadowy global elite who uses mind control on the unawoken masses.
We can sacrifice, racial purity at a national level if we get cultural and racial integrity at the local level.
It's this kind of content that caught the eye of most current RTTL settlers.
I believe I came across Eric's X account. He has like kind of a philosophy channel on YouTube and X. So I found him through philosophical content.
I teach courses on Plato and Aristotle online.
Through that, heard about Return to the Land.
Like YouTube videos?
Interested.
RTTL was initially marketed as a positive, community-based regression to a pre-industrial society.
The way a state should be run is in the interest of the people, not a set of corporations, not just the ruling class, not just one man.
And if you take the race stuff out of all of this, I mean, living this way does provide a pretty gratifying existence to people who've grown up in either Gen Z or millennial American society, where almost everyone is chronically online and frantically scavenging to pay rent in a limited job market.
What are some things that you...
I think it sounds appealing, but like it actually isn't. Like, these guys are pretending to homestead, but you might notice they have like 3 tomato plants. They get their food from a grocery store, you know? It is a reactionary overcorrection. I think that we have a spiritually sick society, and I think that people are very antisocial and alienated, but to whiplash around and being like, I think we should delete modernity as a concept and everything that it's provided. No, I think you're setting yourself up for failure and misery, you know? Homesteading is not good. It's not effective, efficient. It's not going to make you happy. What you want is to be around friends, man. Like, that's it. Any one of you could go out into the forest at any point in time if you wanted to and start fucking slapping planks together, okay? These people still all have money. They have jobs. Otherwise, what are they doing here? I'm telling you, they're not farming their food from the land, okay? They're paying for groceries. I don't know if they have utilities hooked up or whatever, but the point is, this is not a clean break, and it's not what you want. What's their jobs? My guess is they're coming into this with money. Or maybe they're getting money off of like an online subscription thing, kind of like the Tate University, right? Like, help support our project. Like those lefty bookstores that can't stay open on their own. Help support our white homesteading project.
Built here that you're very proud of?
I don't know. I probably built like 30% of that starter home, maybe like 40% of the little cabin over there. Oh yeah,
nice.
The other cabin over there, I might have built like 40% of that, but
Cool.
Do you feel like labor gives you the most personal gratification as far as your role here?
As far as my role here, yes. It's also like a good thing to like keep each other responsible. Like it's very easy, as a teenager, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get off of school and I'm gonna go home and like play video games and do whatever else you do as a teenage boy in your bedroom for like 4 hours, and then like before you know it, the day's gone.
Yeah.
Whereas here, if me and Jonathan, we're like being unproductive or whatever, we can kind of kick each other in the ass and be like, hey, like, what's going on?
What's your favorite thing to do around here?
I like to cook. I've cooked for the guys.
It reminds me of those like alpha male training camps where people will pay $10,000 to go to a camp and pretend they're a teenager while an older man yells at them and tells them to do push-ups in the rain. and like fall in the mud or whatever. If your problem is with discipline, like you don't have to do this. You know what I mean? It's not everyone. It's the reason why most diets fail. You realize you're fat, you can't see your dick looking down, so you're like, okay, I will now eat 600 calories a day, and I'm gonna jog for 4 hours every day, and then of course it all falls apart, right? People are really bad at moderation. I guess like Nazis especially, obviously. They're so extra. They're so dramatic.
At work here, I don't really have hobbies or anything.
Right. She cooks a killer steak.
I like being appreciated for my cooking.
Almost everyone here at the land, I think, worked on this.
You proud of it?
Well, it was our first build, so most guys don't have any experience, and we're just learning from YouTube.
So YouTube taught you to build a house?
Yeah, essentially.
We bought it like raw, undeveloped land, so that's been exciting.
What's the thing out here that you're most proud of in this homestead project so far?
Probably the garden. I feel like
I am very curious, like, up to what standard that house has been built, but you know.
David put a lot of work into just getting this ready for us to be here.
I believe that polities should be small in scale to the point where you could conceivably know everyone in the community. I think there should be a diverse set of communities for people to choose from, like the Greek city-states. You know, if you didn't like how Corinth was governed, well, you could move to Athens.
Wait, but Corinth and Athens weren't just a couple hundred people. They were city-states. What? Wait, they were... Also, that wasn't how it worked. You couldn't just... Okay.
Building from the intellectual framework that Eric has created, race seems to almost arise as an unnecessary flashpoint for a group of people in a virtually all-white area who are primarily concerned with their homesteading project.
They're ahistorical as fuck. I mean, it makes sense that the people who think that all European cultures are just like, haha, white culture, probably also thought all the Greek city-states just got along, right? Famously, like Athens and Sparta, you know, just move, man. You don't like life in Sparta, just go to Athens or whatever. It's fine, probably. I don't know.
Yet still, it's brought up constantly.
I hate to be that guy, but like I've had a lot of black friends.
Okay, top 5 black people.
Tommy Sotomayor, Louis Farrakhan, let me think. The Hodge twins.
Quick, name any... I know this one. I've shook his hand. What's up? I haven't seen this guy in ages. Is this like an old video? Is he still doing stuff? Didn't he get outed as being gay? Did I hallucinate that? Was that a dream?
And Jesse Lee Peterson.
Black Lives Matter is a far-left, liberal, radical, agitative organization founded by a bunch of black lesbians and homosexuals and
Mr. Peterson, I suggest you give...
Okay, like one of my best friends ever used to be Puerto Rican. He was a lot of fun, but it's sort of like, you know, you have these big ethnic blocks that are like boulders, right? And you can build a bridge across and like meet in the middle and be friends with someone from another ethnic group, of course, right? But it's very unstable. It doesn't last.
What happened with your Puerto Rican?
Does it not? Is that how that works?
Friend.
Oh, nothing. He just moved away.
What? You don't even have like a dramatic story or anything? Yeah, man, that's the problem with like interracial friendships. You can try, and sometimes they're fun, but inevitably the genome differences between you and them make long-term kinship impossible. Really, what happened to your Puerto Rican friend? Yeah, he just like moved away. I don't know. His Puerto Rican genes drove him to move away. Seriously? Is this literally just like a spurned friendship that you've gone sicko mode over? What's happening? So it's a villain origin story over a friend moving away.
He moved back to Puerto Rico.
We said.
Oh, that's why it was his genes. Yeah, because they pulled him back to Puerto Rico.
I was a little bit sad, yeah.
Damn, that sucks, man.
Hey guys, what's up? Communities like the one here in the Ozarks are real-life manifestations of online echo chambers. When people start relying on Facebook worthy at all, that's why Ground News is out on this dope-ass news.
No, we're not married.
All right, back to the Ozarks.
My name is Jonathan Malorn. This is Josephine Moore, and we live on the land here at RTTL.
Wait, you have the same last name and you're not married? Are you related? Or...
Has had any kids yet?
No, we're not married.
Oh, you guys are dating?
Yes.
Courting.
What's courting?
Courting is just like dating with more steps. Essentially, we have to be like verified by our supervisors and guardians, people we look up to and respect.
Oh, they soaking? Oh, they're soaking for sure. The camp leader is jumping up and down on the mattress like a goddamn jackhammer for them.
And they both monitor our relationship and help to advise whether or not we are good for each other. If they decide we are good for each other, then they walk us along and help us to pursue the relationship that would, you know, end in the best outcome, which would be getting married and having as many children as possible.
That's great. Super normal. Yeah, whatever.
For Jonathan, who grew up in a Mennonite colony until he was 6, exiting standard society and courting his future wife in isolation is the only viable option for long-term success in today's dating culture.
What is right with the dating culture? Every woman on the internet is more or less advertising herself as sexually accessible. And so if that's...
Yeah, but like, so are all the men. So it balances out. It's like, we can't pretend this isn't like an equal dynamic. You're walking around the homesteading plant with like 8 buttons unbuttoned, you know? Button your shirt, man.
What you want to do as a bloke and throw your soul away for a quick goon. Yeah, it's great. Dating culture for that. The problem with...
Dog, that's not what goon means. Goon is... It refers to masturbating. It doesn't refer to having sex. That's a different... a quick goon. I love that quickly goon with my beautiful wife. I love to have a quick morning goon. What are you talking about?
That is, and we see this demographically and statistically, the birth rate is going down exactly because of the over accessibility of sex. The marketplace value.
That must be why it's been going down for over a century, and it's going down in every single country on earth, even places where women don't have legal rights. And basically nobody has like Tinder or whatever. It has to be like Tinder and Hinge and stuff.
Of sex and monogamy as a whole is basically at an abysmally low level, probably the lowest it's ever been in human history that I've ever studied. And that does not benefit the future generation of our offspring. It does not actually benefit a happy life. People above the age of 40 who are married long-term have significantly happier lives, both male and female.
I notice you have
wonder if there's a statistical term to describe fallacious thinking with regard to that exact argument, you know? People who are in their 40s and married tend to be happier. I wonder, is it the marriage making them happier, or is it that their happiness is the reason why they were able to get married and keep that marriage? Or in other words, if people who are miserable together stay in that marriage, are they more likely to be happy with time, or does the misery guarantee they won't be able to stay in that marriage?
Ton of kids.
Yeah.
How many you got?
Number 5 on the way.
Okay, cool. What's the plan for education for the kid?
I'm homeschooling. It's going pretty well. I know everything that they need to learn. It's going to be nice being in the community when they get a little older, and I'm going to need help filling in certain subjects I'm not comfortable with. That's another reason I'm glad to have the community, because I don't necessarily want to sift through every piece of history to know what's acceptable to teach the kids or not. I trust the guys here.
I'm not.
Oh, that's dark. That's really dark for those kids. They are going to learn so much about Atlantis.
Overwhelmed by the evidence for the exact official narrative, like it was precisely 6 million. You know, there's Black Wall Street. Back in the era of segregation, there are examples of prosperous black communities.
Black Wall Street, I'm pretty sure, got burned down in a race riot.
Yeah, I mean, if you look into the details there, that's another one of these narratives. Slavery was bad, but also everyone else.
The fire just did that. The Tulsa financial district just did that.
Practice slavery too. North America was very sparsely populated when we got here.
It's important to note that interwoven into these tropes about community building and heritage celebration is a much more intense core, and one that embraces controversial and outdated race science.
Black college-educated people still tend to be more violent and criminal than white high school dropouts.
Really?
Yeah.
That fucking pause! Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Wait.
Criminal than white high school dropouts.
Really?
Yeah, the average IQ in some parts of sub-Saharan Africa is under 75, which is considered...
It's like 4 or something, yeah. Basically, the kids there are born, and then they forget to breathe and they die. It's insane that they've been there for that long, to be honest.
Mentally disabled. East Asians have measurably a higher average IQ than Europeans, and they're less criminal, and they're...
But, right, they have the tricky, they have the duplicitous mind, right? They're prone to conniving and scheming, right? That's like the great in the racial taxonomy, you know?
More prosperous.
So you're saying Asians are smarter than us?
Yes, on average. Yeah.
Like every Japanese person I've met or like Korean seems really smart, but I've met some Chinese people where it's like, really? I feel like they're fudging the numbers on that one, to be honest.
As far as most experts are concerned,
Guy who updates his belief in average IQ statistics every time he meets any member of any racial group. Like, you meet 2 smart Japanese and a smart Korean in a row, and you're like, yep, I'm riding pretty high on my assumption. You meet one Chinese guy who's kind of dumb, and you're like, I don't know.
all of these IQ numbers are fudged. Here's a bit more about that from somebody who knows his shit, because I feel like it's worth it.
These tests
it's not Sean.
made for the purpose of figuring out who's going to do well in school. It doesn't predict terribly well to many kinds of real-world successes. There's so much it doesn't tell you, that it doesn't tell you about emotional intelligence, creative intelligence, common sense.
Whoa, hold on. It's true that IQ tests do not test innate intelligence. That's a fact, because you can study for them. It can't test innate intelligence if you can study for them. Getting educated increases your IQ score. Therefore, it's not innate. You know, it does to an extent get affected by other stuff. However, the problem with the racial IQ statistics that Nazis use isn't that IQ doesn't refer to innate intelligence. It's that they're just referring to fake scores. Like a bunch of the... watch the fucking Sean video. I'm not going to repeat the whole thing. A bunch of it's pulled from the bell curve, and a bunch of the stats in the bell curve were written there by racial pseudoscientists who just made up numbers on a bunch of like African countries or whatever. Like a lot of those numbers are just fake, right? Not even, you know... You're not even getting at like the usefulness of IQ as a measurement, which it's pretty useful, right? On average, higher IQ people can do more things intellectually than lower IQ people, but it's just another measurement, right? Like, you know, on average, the more pull-ups you can do, the more fit you are. But there are probably people who can do a lot of pull-ups who can't do other shit, but a guy who can't do pull-ups but can do other shit. That's me.
Wisdom. There's so much more to a person than just their IQ. I would say the major problem has been what's sometimes called scientific racism, but it's not really scientific. It's using the guise of science to advance racist views, because you sometimes get racial differences in different kinds of test scores, including IQ, that don't take into account where those differences may come from. It was convenient for some people to say, well, look, we can divide people by nationality or socially defined race or ethnic group or religion into different IQ groups, and they probably believe themselves.
No credibility.
It told you something, but it didn't tell you what they thought it told you. People with high IQs are often better at convincing themselves of whatever they want. So in other words, they use their IQ for self-justification. They're better at justifying whatever they want to believe. So if they have an ideology, they may have a very weird ideology, but they'll find ways to defend it even if it's not factually accurate. I don't know the details of the people you're studying in Arkansas, but I think that making judgments about people solely on the basis of high IQ is a serious mistake.
Michael Jordan is not a genius.
I don't know Michael Jordan. I've never assessed him. I don't know that much about him. But he's a good example.
I don't know. I don't know much about Michael Jordan. He seems pretty good on the court. I've heard claims to that effect. I don't know. It's just fucking random.
Example of someone with adaptive intelligence. And in terms of adaptive intelligence, I mean, like, wow, he's done a great job.
Anyways, back to Eric and the fed up whites of the Arkansas wilderness.
What do you think was modern white America's Treaty of Versailles moment?
I guess like the Civil Rights Act. You know, there's a basis for equal
really the Civil Rights Act, not the what was the immigration plan? Fuck, I'm forgetting the name. It's been a while since I've argued with a Nazi. What was the come on, they talk about it all the time. The Hart-Celler Act, thank you, the Hart-Celler Act. I think if anything, that would be you'd think that would be the thing they'd bring up, right?
The law, and that was kind of the nominal intention of the civil rights movement, but it went way beyond that and has ended up restricting people's freedom.
One counter argument that I would make to that is that you know, in the 1940s and 50s, World War II ends, all the returning veterans come home, the GI Bill
allows returning veterans to get low-cost mortgages on new homes. This is when Levittown were being built and suburbs were being constructed at a very rapid rate. Cul-de-sacs were sprouting up, and the American dream was hatched. You know, white picket fence, nuclear family. Now the Homeowners Loan Corporation, which basically...
They just want to say the N-word, by the way. I mean, I hate to keep saying it over and over because I don't want to be tedious, but I think that watching this, it's a really like clean reminder of how much these people's beliefs are motivated by insecurity, mental illness, and grievance politics, and none of them really seem to care or have really many opinions on like moral virtue or what can be done to improve things for anyone. Like their big plan is to escape society. You know, they were living in the you know, the anti-white hellscape of, what was it, fucking Montana, Idaho, some of them, and they were like, I can't deal with this, I gotta go homestead, I gotta go pretend to grow food in a plot of land or whatever. They're just not very community oriented, which kind of runs counter to what they claim they want, if that makes any sense. Like, I don't think you could have much of a conversation with them about their ideas. But I guess that's just the experience I've had talking to anyone like right of center lately.
Decided who could live where, had racially restrictive covenants that said only white people can live in this area. Minorities can't live. They can only live in certain redline zones.
I've heard of this.
Civil Rights Act comes in '64 after redlining had already began, after deindustrialization made the urban cores of places like Philadelphia, Chicago, and Detroit barren, and there was a mass transfer of wealth into surrounding suburbia. So what do you think about the notion that by the time the Civil Rights Act was passed, they already had the short end of the stick?
I would say that they were not at an advantage, obviously. The expectation that the black community should have reached parity in a generation is crazy. Obviously, that would be impossible. It
little more than a generation between the end of slavery and the end of World War II. Slightly more. Back then, I think at the, you know, age people tend to have kids back then, that'd be 3 generations. But also, that wasn't the question. The question wasn't whether or not we could have reasonably expected them to reach parity by that point.
Require massive top-down social engineering and redistribution of resources. Now, we have done that over the 20th century, but
he's not engaging with the question. The question was very simple. Like, hey, don't you think by then black people had already gotten the short end of the stick? Like, legally, you can point at very obvious instances of discrimination here, but he doesn't want to engage with that because he has to maintain the idea that he's the victim, right? They're always the victim. It can never be, they can never take ownership over it, I guess. Like, they can never say, no, we recognize black people were mistreated, but we think that's good because we don't like that. Like, if they said that, at least that would be honest, and then you could engage with that, right? Like, you could engage with that, because that is what they believe. Like with the Holocaust denial, there are very, very, very few actual Holocaust deniers. The vast majority of people who pretend to be are just doing rhetoric games so they can avoid saying the thing they actually believe, which is they thought the Holocaust was good, you know, obviously. But they don't want to own up to that. And it just always dancing around it.
I think we overcorrected.
Well, for example, like small business loans, right? Like there was something that they sort of blew the water off of like 6 months ago or something like that. And it's basically a fact that if you're not a white male, like you're getting like, I forget the exact numbers, so don't hold me to it, but like $90,000 more to start a small business just because you're a minority.
Basically a fact. Just basically a fact. I mean, you can just look at the apportionment of wealth in this country, the average household wealth of white and black families, and it just blows this completely out of the water. Like, okay, so the government's like super duper discriminatory in favor of black people. Then why does the average white household have like infinity bajillion dollars more than the average black household? There are neighborhoods in this country where the average black household, like the net worth is negative. Like, it's just not. They'd say it's a skill issue. Yeah, they would, but at least that's a different argument, right? if they wanted to make the argument like, no, dude, the reason why black people are disprivileged in this country is because they're like bad at money or something like that, then they would also have to drop their argument, which is that right now in America today, all black people are getting $1 bajillion off welfare and white people are suffering. Because that's the grievance politics position they want to maintain. They want to maintain this delusional belief that like every black guy, you can just walk into a government office, get a massive small business loan. Every DA will just let you off the hook because nobody wants to arrest a black guy. Like they have to believe that black people are just like moseying over the whole country. And you look at any data and it's like, well, actually, it's crazy that in spite of all the advantages they get, black people still somehow manage to remain disadvantaged. Okay.
You know, as a white male, you're putting so much more back into the system and we're getting less and less out. It's basically
because you have more money. That's how taxes work. Yeah. If your race has much more money, you'll pay more taxes. That's usually how it works typically.
In limited cases, maybe when it's historically verifiable that this person was a slave on this plantation, that plantation, the wealth went to this person. You know, if it's all on the books, then I think that's fair. Actually, some cases of reparations of that kind have taken place. So I'm all for that. But there's
we're not even talking about reparations. We're just talking about like overall social inequality. Reparation, that's a totally different thing. But also that hasn't really happened. Most of the black people in this country are descendants of slaves. It's like a lot of them. It's kind of why they were brought here.
General narrative that black people are where they are in society today because of continual systemic oppression and white supremacy. And I don't think that's true at all.
Do you think there's any solution?
Was it true when the GI Bill was written? Because he dodged that. Was that true when the GI Bill was written? You know, it's a very easy defeater, and I'll never get to try it out anymore because these people never want to talk, which is, do you agree that on average, a poor family is more likely to stay poor and a wealthy family is more likely to stay wealthy? Do you think there is some inertia to the wealth of a family household? Like if you're born in a shit-ass neighborhood with underfunded schools and your family has few opportunities and you don't have much money, are you more likely to stay in that situation than for a rich family to fall into that situation? The answer to this obviously is yes. Okay. So if black people were discriminated against, 100 years ago, and then those socioeconomic imbalances were never corrected for, wouldn't that then definitionally mean that past injustices are causing current ones? Like, it's not enough to just end the active legal discrimination. You have to end the conditions that have perpetuated since then. Like, you get rid of the law that says black people have to be poor, wealthy people, or white people have to be wealthy, and you snap your finger, you get rid of it, and then what happens after? Well, you've gotten rid of legal discrimination, but black people remain poor because their parents were. I'm speaking generally, obviously, I'm speaking like with a very broad brush, but this is just a basic fact about demographics that none of them have an answer to. Now, obviously, it's a hell of a lot more complicated than that, but at the end of the day, the vast majority, the majority of the oppression that black people experience in America today is not active discrimination. It's not legal racism. It's not even like police racism or whatever. It's not being called the N-word by people online or whatever else. The vast majority of the negative life consequences they have to deal with, like overwhelmingly so, just stem from the fact that they have inherited the demographic imbalance of previous generations. That a lot of black people are born in neighborhoods that are underfunded, very poor, few job opportunities, schools are underfunded. You create like a self-perpetuating cycle. You live in a household where both parents have to work and neither can afford daycare, so you're on your own a lot more often. You're not being read to as a kid because the parents are busy and the parents have to work extra jobs. Or maybe your dad got arrested for a crime he actually did. Sure, fine, whatever. But that now means you've got one less person in the household raising you, which means that growing up, you're less likely to have like a stable household and you're more financially unstable, which increases the likelihood that you're going to end up in a fucked situation. You might commit a crime, and then da-da-da-da-da. Like, all of these things are just a continuation of a pre-existing demographic environment. And this isn't just black people and white people in America. You can see these trends, this inertia of inequality continue in like every fucking country on earth. Seriously. any country that has a significant minority population that was disadvantaged in the past and the legal discrimination is stopped, all over the world, you see examples of this. You see it in countries where there's a white majority and a non-white minority. You see it in countries where there's a white minority and a non-white majority. You see it all over the place, you know? So yeah, again, but none of them want to engage with this because engaging with this takes away from their whiny fucking narrative that white people are so oppressed or whatever the fuck. Which, like, dude, I love white people, like Jesse Lee Peterson, you know? I fucking love white people. I'm white myself. Did you know that? Something brother, okay? You're not fixing anything like this. You're not making anything better for anybody. You're just fucking whining. The victim politics bullshit is insufferable.
In America politically that could lead to a reduction in homicides in a place like Baltimore?
I think the options are remigration or death penalty.
It should be.
There we go. From the mind of a big thinker with big thoughts. How do we reduce crime? Remigration or death. Yeah, very good, very good. Big brain, big brain.
Noted that RTTL's opposition to the Civil Rights Act is beyond an ideological one, and it's Martin Luther King Jr.'s ghost itself that could come back and f this place up. You see, the 1964 rulings included something called the Fair Housing Act, which was designed specifically to stop things like this from happening.
Isn't the Fair Housing Act technically supposed to restrict this kind of thing?
Well, no, because there are exceptions for private associations, and we're not selling real estate. When people buy a share in the company that owns the land here, they're not getting a deed to land. They're getting the right to homestead in our community.
You know this guy had to very hurriedly like look up these rules and caveats after r/Jewish made a post on it.
The initial LLC members, they paid the real estate company directly through the escrow agent.
Unlike a residential development, which is owned by a real estate company that must follow fair housing guidelines, RTTL is an LLC, a limited liability corporation, technically operating on a commercial property that was once owned and zoned by a logging company. So the settlers there are actually partners in the company who must apply with the board to be shareholders.
So you basically buy stock in a company, and then that in turn gives you usage rights for the land.
Right, shares in a private company.
And company boards can refuse the sale of shares to whoever they want. They're not explicit.
He had a really hard time finding an attorney to explain this. He had to use ChatGPT. Is that actually true? I don't know if that's actually true. That might be true. I don't know. The project's probably going to fall apart before too long. Obviously, right? I guess for me, the lesson here isn't just like these guys are silly, though they are. It's also these guys are crazy enough to actually do it. There are probably a lot of people in this country who wish they could do some version of this. Like, maybe not explicitly white nationalist, but more in a, like, we need to escape the crumbling ruins kind of way, right? Like, there are many people with, even people on the left, who have, like, a version of this in their head. And it's a antisocial and destructive tendency. It's low IQ, okay? It's not based. It's gay. And I don't endorse it. I don't endorse it at all. Basically, it's important. You have to critique these tendencies. You know,
legally required to give a reason why. You see what they did?
I mean, obviously, European heritage is very important to us, and you'd be surprised, really, by the number of people that, despite knowing that, they'll get through the interview. I've asked them about their ethnic background, and then they mention, "Oh yeah, but I have a Colombian wife." It's like that kind of thing. It's kind of contrary to our values as an association.
I guess Fuentes couldn't live here then.
The Colombian wife is like 100% Spanish blooded.
Well, then it's probably fine.
How much is that for?
So you shouldn't say Colombian then, because there are white people in Colombia, like a lot of them, you know? You should say like, isn't it like mestizo, castizo? Isn't there like what's the term? Would you just say indigenous or something? Spain is fine, France is bad. Yeah, I guess so.
Share cost? About 6K. Pretty low. I think that was for about like 3% share in the LLC.
How much do you think it cost you overall to get to this current point?
Oh, not too much compared to like a normal house.
And how close do you feel like you are to true self-sufficiency where you wouldn't technically have to leave?
Pretty far away.
Is she 100% white? I don't know, it's just dark hair. I've got dark hair, I guess, but you know, I'm just wondering. They should all do 23andMe's. That the only morally good part of these white nationalist communities is that there is a chance that at some point everyone will be peer pressured into doing a 23andMe, and that's really funny. Like, that will almost always produce a really, really, really funny set of outcomes.
From that, it's a good goal. This is our first year really here, so let's just like adding one piece at a time.
You could build a small cabin or have a building delivered for $5,000 to $10,000. So that plus the cost of the share itself, you could really reasonably get started with about $50,000.
Is your goal ever to pave these roads, or do you kind of like the rugged Appalachian feel?
No, I mean, one day if we could pave all these roads, it would be awesome.
Yeah.
But Orania in South Africa, they have 3,000 people. They bought an already existing town, you know, and then developed from there. And even they still have dirt roads. So it's going to be quite a while before we get these paved.
Paving roads is pretty expensive. That's true. Yeah. I don't understand. I thought he was going to say something racist, but then he didn't. I'm actually kind of taken aback a little bit. Thank you, white boy.
Come as no surprise at all that they chose Arkansas for this project. It's a red state with low government oversight and a bunch of its own problems. Plus, the settlement is ungodly far from any population centers. It's hard to explain just how in the sticks this place truly is. The closest town is called Hardy, over 20 minutes away by car, and home to less than 1,000 people, only one of whom is black.
The locals didn't really have an issue with us. We've had good relations with most of our neighbors from the start.
There's a lot of people out here that I guess live and let live, you could say, which I appreciate that.
Still though, despite the lack of local pushback, there is some concern that with this national news media attention, legal trouble could be imminent.
Potentially the biggest...
I don't want them to be legally crushed. I do worry about the kids. It's fucked up that they have to live in that situation, right? And there's a very high risk of abuse there, like catastrophically high. But, you know, apart from that, because obviously the kids don't choose to be there or not be there, you want it to fall apart naturally? Well, yeah, I guess I kind of do. I guess like my naive hope is that it would fall apart, but all these guys would learn something about themselves in the process of it falling apart, about how this didn't really fix their problems and they were kind of following an internet trend a little bit. Like they weren't really engaging with the real issues, both inside them and in society. I don't really think that's going to happen, though.
Hurdle is the legal hurdle. There's going to be a lot of legal challenges, I think, to go through with this sort of thing.
We've not been sued or fined yet, but we do expect that. People have made complaints to government departments. We've had requests for information from government departments. So I think investigations are happening, and we'll have to wait months to really find out.
Even with potential legal complications on the horizon, most people there feel like it's worth it. On the settlement, there's a tinge of nihilism in the air. Most people feel like the country at large is doomed.
I don't think that there's like good political solutions for it now. I mean, that's why I'm here, right? I think actually like people being...
Oh, what a surprise. What a shocker. Your adventurous LARPing out in the sticks in Arkansas is motivated by nihilism and a lack of a creative imagination as to how these problems might be solved. Sort of just like in a way, a kind of social suicide. Like you're removing yourself entirely from it, thus you're not culpable for it. That's crazy.
Present and like putting in the labor, kind of like I'm doing, not to toot my own horn too much, but like every single day, and living in a lifestyle that's more conductive to community is probably going to be the way forward.
So do you see places like this, return to the land settlements, sprouting up across the country as a potential way to actually counter the demographic shift?
I don't think it will counter the demographic shift as a whole.
Is Andrew Callahan Jewish? Have they asked him about that? Isn't he Jewish? I'm surprised it hasn't come up. You'd think they'd, considering this guy boldly to the camera was like, yeah, our big first enemy was r/Jewish. You know, I thought they would go for it. It's not a Jewish name, Callahan? Yeah, no, possibly. I'm just wondering. I thought I remembered him being Jewish. I could be remembering someone else.
I think it will provide safe places for my kids and grandkids to grow up valuing their culture, and that's what I'm going
What culture, man?
I think the solution looks something like what we're doing here. I think that's probably the best course of action.
I think the best we can hope for with politics is just to be left alone. I don't think realistically with the electoral maps we're looking at right now, there's ever going to be Uber-based gets elected. Nick Fuentes actually could probably do a pivot where
Oh man.
Which I think he's already kind of doing, where he focuses less on the race question, more on Israel, and gets a broader coalition for electoral politics. So it's possible, but I don't think it's going
If
to.
Nick saw this, he might rope. Oh, he would call these people retards for sure, 100%. Yeah, he does not want to be. Could you imagine a living situation that would more prompt Fuentes to offing himself than being forced to live in a community like this? He steps outside, people fucking howl at him, and he's like, shut up, you know, slams the door, goes back inside. Like, I would feel for him, genuinely.
To be like the next Fuhrer or anything.
And right now there are several.
He's too into the gay sex for that shit. They're all going to have to be, man. There are 2 women here. And what is it, like over a dozen men? Like 24 men? It's not, they're not reaching anywhere near parity with that ratio.
Communities being organized. One of the things I've been up to lately is getting ready to go to all those sites where there are groups of people who want to do this and help them get organized, help them, you know, decide who their board of managers will be for their companies that'll own their land. So yeah.
I left the settlement confused and honestly a bit sad. I mean, I know there's been problems and stuff, but it felt like shit was kind of all good not that long ago. The fact that people nowadays will go to such lengths to feel seen and heard is a symptom of a far greater social ill than meets the naked eye through this video. The American experiment is beginning to crack in new ways, and armies of the confused are shaping and writing the narrative. If I live a long and healthy life, I truly wonder how things will look when I'm 80 years old, and if I'll be equipped to explain to the youth of the future where and how we went wrong, or if we were ever right in the first place. I guess time will tell.
Channel 5 Live Worldwide, Hollywood and Vine.
That was actually a really good one. That was a very solid one, you know? We learned a lot today. Sorry, this is just previews for future stuff. We learned a lot today. As always, it's all psychosexual, you know? But that doesn't mean we didn't learn something. One of those 4 kids is going to escape and write a New York Times bestseller in 15 to 20 years. Fucking facts. Mixed race kids aren't as attractive to me, so I became a white supremacist. Yes, I'm gonna check bro's hard drive. I'm glad other people found that as strange as I did. Classic European text, New Testament. Okay, we're running the hits here. Just making sure. I don't know, man. The internet's a wild place these days. I was worried that I would scroll down and a bunch of people would be like, these guys make sense. Just making sure. Just making sure. Just making sure. Just making sure. Sort by newest first? No, I don't think so. That's okay. I don't think so. Damn, dude, my pecs are sore as fuck. I exercised. You know, you get back into it, right? Your first set or your first workout in a while, and afterwards you're like, I can never exercise again. It's fucked up. I barely did anything. I have not seen the new Perfect Union video. We don't have time for it. I didn't think I was going to spend this much time watching long videos, you know? I'm just going to get to what's actually in the title, if you'll forgive me for my promptness. Oh yes. Oh yes. Excuse me, sorry. What's in the title? This is in the title. After missing deadline, illegally, DOJ says it may need a few more weeks to finish releasing Epstein files. But don't worry. They have a reason. They have suddenly discovered more than 1 million additional potentially relevant documents. So I guess they're just going to be releasing Epstein files forever. Forever and ever. Like there will be no end to it. which must be great for the administration. I don't know. My guess here is that a lot of these potentially incriminating files are being invoked because they want to muddy the waters. Like, yeah, they want to take attention off the real stuff. They're just dumping files in there. I don't think it's going to work. Like, so far, everything they've done hasn't worked. You know, like it's pretty difficult to dim the attention this is getting. But I think they're going to try anyway.
We have some breaking news to share with you. The Department of Justice says it has uncovered, and I'm quoting here, 1 million more documents potentially related to the Jeffrey Epstein case. Caitlin Polance is here. Caitlin, with these documents, do we know if they're above and beyond all of the ones that they already have? And if so, what that's going to mean to the release?
Yeah, this is quite a Christmas news drop, Sarah. The Justice Department now revealing that they are still discovering files from Jeffrey Epstein and all of the different parts of the Justice Department that had files related to him in various investigations. In this statement, this was just out about 20 minutes ago, the Justice Department now says the Southern District of New York, so that's their prosecutor's office out of Manhattan, and the FBI have informed the Department of Justice.
Remember, Cash said Epstein trafficked no one, 1 million documents for no one. Cash not only said that Epstein had no co-conspirators and no client list, he also said there were no Epstein files. It turns out, like, the number of files there were could fill a building, you know? All these statements were made under oath, by the way. These are all impeachable. I mean, it's all, like, persecutable. Why would he say that? Because he's fucking stupid, I guess. I don't know. Because he's just because they all think they can get away with anything, and so far they've been correct.
Covered over 1 million more documents potentially related to the Jeffrey Epstein case. The impact there, it means that the Department of Justice is going to be processing these before they can all be posted transparently under the law for weeks. Here's a little bit more of the statement. This
is important. They say the Southern District of New York found these files. They're independent from the DOJ. Well, the DOJ has to release them. Are you saying that these files were procured from a different source, and therefore it's possible that the DOJ is just angrily being forced to comply with the release of these files? Uncovered over 1 million more documents, but from where? In March, Attorney General Pam Bondi told Fox News that a truckload of evidence had been delivered to her after she ordered the Justice Department to deliver the full and complete Epstein files to my office. The directive she made after learning from an unidentified source, the FBI in New York, was in possession of thousands of pages of documents. Unsigned memo, exhaustive review, determined no additional evidence should be released. Where are these files coming from? Who procured them? Manhattan federal prosecutors already had more than 3.6 million records from sex trafficking investigations into Epstein, his longtime confidant, Ghislaine Maxwell, though many copies were copies of material already turned over to the FBI. Vast volume of materials. It's not really saying here, or at least it's not saying clearly. Because if these files were procured from the federal government, I think it's reasonable to assume that there's some degree of shenaniganry here, you know? However, if they were procured from a lower court or, a state court, definitely, especially from New York, then I think we can assume the files are real and would make Trump and Epstein look really, really bad. Listen to the newscast again at the beginning. Sorry, my ears are full of mistletoe. I might have missed something.
We have some breaking news to share with you. The Department of Justice says it has uncovered, and I'm quoting here, 1 million more documents potentially related to the Jeffrey Epstein case. Caitlin Polance is here. Caitlin, with these documents, do we know if they're above and beyond all of the ones that they already have? And if so, what that's going to mean to the release?
provide
Yeah,
info.
this is quite a Christmas news drop, Sarah. The Justice Department now revealing that they are still discovering files from Jeffrey Epstein and all of the different parts of the Justice Department that had files related to him in various investigations. In this statement, this was just out about 20 minutes ago, the Justice Department now says the Southern District of New York, so that's their prosecutor's office out of Manhattan, and the FBI have informed the Department of Justice they've uncovered over 1 million more documents potentially related to the Jeffrey Epstein case.
Prosecutor's office out of Manhattan.
Informed the Department of Justice about 20 minutes ago. The Justice Department now says the Southern District of New York, so that's their prosecutor's office out of Manhattan, and the FBI have informed the Department of Justice they've uncovered over 1 million more documents potentially related to the Jeffrey Epstein case.
That's interesting. Huh. I wonder if it really is authentic then, or I wonder if this is being done in good faith. Because I still, look, this is conspiracy posting from me, but I think it's more likely than not, you know, Occam's razor shit, or Occam's razor. I think that the reason why we had that kerfuffle previously with the Epstein files leaking early because they were already archived online, just without a publicly listed URL, and the fact that you could uncensor them by copy and pasting them, like the black highlighter just needed to be circumvented. I think the reason that happened was because there are people in the DOJ and FBI who hate Trump and want to do a bad job censoring these files. Like, I do not believe that anyone who works at the FBI or the DOJ does not know how to censor a file. I just don't I don't believe that. I do not think that any of these people would be put in front of a computer and would use black highlighter in a fucking in Adobe Acrobat or whatever, you know, and they would be like, yeah, that works, that's fine. I think it's malicious compliance. I think they deliberately fucked it up. So so you're saying the deep state is fighting back? I mean, I would argue that the deep state has changed positions, okay? What was once the deep state is now the high up state, and all the corruption is so out in the open, you can't even call it the deep state anymore. Like, oh, did you know that Israel colludes with the FBI and the government and Mossad to do shady shit? Yeah, we know, they tweet about it. Did you know that Trump is handing out pardons to anyone who offers the money? Yeah, I know, he tweeted about it. Okay, did you know the Pentagon just awarded a $500 million contract to Eric Trump? Like, just flatly giving nearly $1 billion to the president's son? Yeah, I know, it's public info. Like, what deep state? It's all very obvious, frankly. Apartment complex, I find it quite simple. So I guess what I'm saying is, like, you know, maybe now we don't have a deep state. We have the deep, like, bureaucrats who are just tired of this shit. And we have the very openly corrupt state, you know? Either or, one and about. Anyway, if that is the case, though, it would not surprise me if the FBI and the New York prosecutor's office is to some extent, because the prosecutor themselves may be a Trump stooge in the District of New York, but that doesn't mean everyone working in their offices. It's kind of easy to imagine, right? Like, imagine that the DA's office in New York, the federal DA, they're sitting on like 1 million files in Epstein, and a bunch of the clerks and like orderlies and people who work there are like, we fucking hate this president. Hey, all these files, we have all these files. And they go up to their boss and they're like, look at all these files. We have these files. We have to turn over these files. And they're like, no, shh, we don't want to look at those. But they make enough of a fuss about it that it kind of has to be like forced up, basically. These people were probably the ones forced to look at the CP. It has got to be like really bad for your mental health to be an agent of the FBI whose job was to trudge through the insane amount of like child sexual abuse material and whatever the fuck else you had to review relating to Epstein, and then it all gets ignored. All of it gets buried because the president is one of the co-conspirators. You know? Like, that's got to piss you off, right? It wouldn't surprise me at all if there are lots of people at the FBI and the prosecutor's office who are who want to see this blown open, you know? That specific job has a very high suicide rate, like the feds who look through child sexual abuse material. Yeah. Like, no, it really fucks you up mentally for reasons that are probably pretty obvious. But yeah, high suicide rate, mental health problems, like they're big, big, big thing. So imagine doing all of that with regard to Jeffrey fucking Epstein, the most notorious child sex trafficker in American history, and then all of it gets shelved. All of it's like, nope, sorry, we can't. Donald Trump's the president. Can't do it. Sorry. I'd be pretty mad. Be a little peeved.
The impact there, it means that the Department of Justice is going to be processing these before they can all be posted transparently under the law for weeks. Here's a little bit more of the statement. We have lawyers working around the clock to review and make the legally required redactions to protect victims, and we will release the documents as soon as possible. Due to the mass volume of material, this process may take a few more weeks. This comes on the heels as well of yesterday. Prosecutors in the Southern District of Florida
doubling down to like super duper 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 redact everything after the fiasco the other day.
So in and around Miami, being asked to volunteer their time and jump on board the group that is already looking at these Epstein files. This email from leadership in the department said they needed volunteers. It was an emergency. They understood it was the holidays, but there are more documents than they have enough people to reviewing right now. They need more hands on deck. Sarah?
This is going to fuel all sorts of questions about how the DOJ has handled this, both the left and the right, both going after the DOJ. How does this all fit in with the law that has been put in place that the president signed, the Transparency Act as well? It requires that they had put these out way earlier altogether, and now here we are.
The requirement was that they would all have been released last Friday. That was the day for all of the files to become transparent that was mandated for the Justice Department. They did not meet that deadline.
And of course, as is always the case, they're not going to be prosecuted for the crime they objectively committed.
And there's another deadline upcoming, January 3rd. That is the day when the Department of Justice is going to have to tell Congress, here's everything we did to redact in these files and the reasons for those redactions. If they're not even through all of the documents by then, they're digging a hole that already is reaching a lot of people and getting a lot of public and political criticism for it. There are members of Congress calling for contempt for the Attorney General for not meeting the deadline, and others who want to go to court. It is not over. There are more files, and there will also be much more reaction as well. Sarah?
Yeah, and we could have some of the files, not the million they haven't gone through, but some of the files that they have gone through.
That's also partly Dem's fault. They didn't put any actual punishments in the bill. All they can do is contempt. Yeah, it's pretty unfortunate. That being said, I didn't expect anything legal to come out of this anyway. I just expected all of this to be a big PR hit, which, you know, so far it has been. There's no way the Trump administration's getting their fucking momentum back. I hope they're able to go after Kash Patel and Pam Bondi. I would hate to see Trump, like, allowed to skate by on this, but it would be pretty fun to see them give a couple of sacrificial lambs over to the, you know, to the dogs. How has this affected poll numbers? I'm actually not aware of any polling, any, like, robust polling that is post this Epstein file batch. Though keep in mind, it like keeps happening over and over, right? Like there was the first wave and then the second, the third, and so on. And yeah, it is Christmas time right now. So we're probably going to have to wait a little while. It's only going to go down, guys. It's only going to go down. Congress also went on vacay early. Do you think Mike Johnson saw this dump coming? Well, yeah, of course he did. The date that the files were being released was written into the law. So, yeah, that is why he did it. That's why he ended Congress one day early. So there was no overlap with the files release. He's probably hoping that, much like his previous strategy with the files, he's hoping everything will blow over by the time session begins again, you know? I don't think it will. Now, pardon me for being a little bit optimistic, but I really, truly do not think that they will. That Epstein letter, man. Trump shares our love of young nubile girl, like insane, like From last week, they're now -4 with white voters. Yeah, this isn't even accounting for the release of the Epstein files or everything that's happened since. But yeah, President Trump approval crosstabs, -23 overall, -90 for Democrats. Fascinating, the 3% of Democrats who approve, but what are you going to do? +81 with Republicans. Obviously, they're a cult, you know. -43 with independents. -43 with 18 to 34. -23 with 35 to 54. -10 with 55 plus. -18 with no college. -22 with college graduate. -11 with men. -34 with women. -6 with white people. That's pretty crazy. That's crazy. Even white people. White people redemption arc. Finally. The only demographic that doesn't hate Trump is the group of people that were asked beforehand if they hate Trump. No, I don't hate Trump. Okay, do you hate Trump? No? Okay. Finally, somebody likes him. -6 with white people. Well, 1 million more Epstein files, guys. We're going to be swimming in, you know, news drops about how our president is a pedophile every day for the rest of our lives. Trump is going to be dead soon. He's old, right? And we're gonna all be in our 50s and 60s and 70s, whatever. You know, we're gonna be older, and every day it's gonna be like, hey, you know, the DOJ for the 6th administration after Trump, we're still digging through those files. Oh. That cardigan's so pretty. Thank you. I think it's a bit too big for me. I would have gotten it one size smaller, but it doesn't really matter. It's a cardigan. Yeah, it's Iran knit. See? There, does that show it a little better in the light? It's got wooden burl buttons. I really like it. Very holidays. It just makes room for when you get big from lifting. Facts. How's the economy? Not great. There was some info suggesting that consumer spending rose significantly, more than expected, and then it turned out all of it was on healthcare. So people are spending more money than ever before on healthcare. And then it was like the GDP grew way more than expected. It grew by 4.3% rather than the expected 3.3%. And then it was like, break it down. How much of that GDP gain wasn't in the healthcare or in the AI data center industry? And it's like, oh, then we're in a recession. Then we're in a recession. If you don't count those two, we're in a recession. We'll see how it goes. I spent a lot on presents for my friends this year, so that was my like big hurrah. But I'm gonna be eating, you know, rice and tuna for a while. Do you like Filson clothes? Filson makes high-quality clothes, but I don't think they're particularly fashionable in a lot of cases. And also, I think that it's unfortunate their price has gone up quite a bit since they were acquired by private equity a few years back. Like, Filson's, I think, still producing basically the same clothes as before, but they have gone up in price a lot. You were going to eat rice and tuna anyway? Yeah. Not at all, notes. No, I read the quality has dropped. Well, there you go. I could be totally off. I am going to read donos, and after that, I've got to go, folks. It's actually been a longer stream than I expected, but, you know, I've got to go. I've got to cook. I've got to cook. I'm like Jesse. I've got to cook. What you making? A lot of things. I'll be sure to take pictures, okay? Excuse me. Levystein, thank you for the tier 3 sub. Really appreciate that. Warhound May and Carl Hungus, thank you for the $5 both. Really appreciate those. Has the AI scandal ruined your excitement for the new Divinity? Look, I hate the way Larian Studios has been communicating. I want to see how it plays out. But even if they're being dipshits about the AI, I know there are lots of really, 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 really good artists on that team. And I don't feel good about the idea of just flat, like, discounting all that work. I think, I do want to hear more from people actually working on the game. Because so far, it's just been the CEO saying over and over and over again, like, you know, over and over again, everyone on the team is okay with how we're using AI. I don't know. I need to think about it. I am excited for the game. I think I might, for now, in terms of like the next game I might play, I'm actually considering trying Path of Exile 2, even though I hate the build like decking or whatever in that game because of the new Druid class. I saw a video from the guy who does videos on MMOs. What's his name? You know, the Josh Strife Hayes. And it made the Druid look really fun. And I don't know. Maybe I'll give it a try. What's your opinion on the sport of fencing? It's pretty cool. I've fenced. Every time I've ever fenced, it's been people who actually fence, right? And I don't, so I lose. Also, fencers tend to be very skinny. You know, you present your side to them, and I've got a bit of a tummy, so I'm literally like 3 times the stabbing like target of the average fencer. But you know, at least I've got longer reach. All right, I got to read faster. SamFan155, thank you for the super kind $20 dono. Cash Patel can't spell transparency, but he sure loves putting spells on them. Everyone in favor of putting the lying thief in jail say yerp. I think Cash Patel, like, honestly, his handling of the Epstein files is the least of his crimes. Cash Patel 100% deserves, like, you know, he's one of the worst ones up there. Passion, thank you for the 5 tier 1 subs. Hi. Hello. Thank you. Ted TJ, thank you for the $5. Merry Christmas to you as well. And no, I'm not going to stream tomorrow. Maybe not the day after, too, but it won't be more than a 2-day break, you know. Thank you. Bear Apathy, thank you for the tier 2 sub. Just watched the FNAF movie, and it's maddening how the guy is more sus the girl than the crew in E33 is of Verso. It's the same situation. No! E33 slander even in a dono about the FNAF 2 movie. That's crazy. Ah! We will finish E33. And after that, it's either Deltarune or the Metal Gear Solid games. God willing, we're going to do it, okay? God willing, we're going to do it. I'm feeling good about this. SamFan155, thank you for the super, super kind 10 tier 1 subs. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And likewise, Ravenger with the 20 gifted tier 1 subs, a Christmas miracle. Merry Christmas all. Love the streams, Vosh. Thanks a ton for persisting through the cough. Yeah, honestly, the cough is like the thing that it's cough and energy levels. I know there are people who do my job who are emotionally conflicted about streaming because it has its ups and its downs. I fucking love streaming, okay? But man, talking for 3, 4, 5 hours straight, high energy, inflect, you know, you're putting the funny voices on when you're trying to fight a cough. It is so tiring. So I want to say, here's my Christmas thank you. Thank you to everyone who watches, who puts up with the delays, the weird scheduling, and the fact that sometimes I don't talk as much, or I'm like having a cough drop during stream, you know? I'm sure that affects the audio quality a little bit. I'd prefer doing that to not streaming at all, but you know, I know I have a persistent cough. It's just I'm working on it, you know? I'm working on it. Thank you. Sake, thank you for the 5 tier 1 subs. Merry Christmas to you too. The funniest part of the renaming is that it's the Donald Trump Center and the Kennedy Memorial Center, so it makes it seem like there's a separate center. I do love them not removing the second "the" because it does imply they're just going to remove the Trump stuff the moment he's out of office, right? Like putting it on a separate line and not adjusting any of the existing lettering pretty much guarantees it, I feel. Hopefully. Smelanie, thank you for the $5. My sister got a new puppy. Meet Leo. Wow. Oh my God. This is like a cartoon dog. Look at that. Anyone else think Vosh looks like Obi-Wan Kenobi? I'm going insane. I've gotten that a lot. Do I still look like Obi-Wan Kenobi even though I got a haircut? Dude, I need to keep my hair shorter. It's so much more manageable like this. It doesn't do that fucking flopping stuff. So much better. I think it's more the beard. I have the same like slightly red brown beard. My beard looks very similar to his. So I've been getting that one like my whole life basically. Homophobic face. I love homophobic dogs. Sake, thank you for the 5 tier 1 subs. Having a pointless center that doesn't exist and doesn't do anything is very on brand for Trump. Yeah, a memorial center no less, named after a person who's still kicking for now. For now. Let me read super chats super quick. Boop da boop boop boop. Boop da boop boop boop. Oh, there are more than I expected. All right, I'm going to have to read these pretty quick. A lot of them are from yesterday. Victorious Gardenosaurus, Balls Deep 6969, Yusuf, and John, thank you for the $5 all. I really, really appreciate that. Paloma Del Mar and Tyler Kerr, thank you for the $2 both. Victorious Gardenosaurus, again, an inspiration for everyone. Thank you for the $5 both. Ghost of Avalon, thank you for the 10. Paloma Del Mar, thank you again for the 5. Thank you, thank you. And Mayday 2569, thank you for the $5. My family's still in denial about this, from it's fake to I don't want to talk about politics anymore. Buy yourself something nice, I can't even. I'm very, very, very lucky to have a family that is not insane and delusional about politics. I don't know what I would do on Thanksgiving if I had to deal with that. It would just be, it's just insufferable. Hillel Finder, thank you for the $10. Really appreciate that. Victorious Gardenosaurus, again, you've been very kind to me. Thank you for the $5. And Gloomy Orpheus, thank you for the $2. X and Rich65, thank you for the $10 both. Love the content and coverage of everything. Hope you have a lovely holiday. And here's to many more fashion segments. Love that INW Star sweater, by the way. Yes, the Imogene and Willie Star sweatshirt. I kind of wish I'd gotten it one size down, but lately I've been feeling that way about a lot of stuff. Maybe because I'm fucking tweaking out a little bit about my hip fat. But no, I really, really, really like it. Imogene makes a lot of excellent stuff. Yeah. Mostly workwear and traditional Americana. Do they still have their Star sweatshirt? Let me see. Doot 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 doot. Doot 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 doot. They do. Look at that. Just beautiful. So what they do for this one, so it's a raglan sleeve, which gives you a lot of mobility. You have the faded star, of course, but also see this darkened section right here? What they're doing is they're imitating the way sweatshirts were often made in the past, which was by using a seam ripper to just remove the kangaroo pocket on the front of a hoodie. Like you would remove the hood and the big pocket and thus just have a remaining sweatshirt. So it has the like fade pattern here, you know. I think it's very beautiful. Very, very beautiful. So like a sweater, but less useful? Well, it's a sweatshirt, you know, like you would wear for athletics. It's the idea. Sweatshirts are the athletic. The crew neck sweatshirt is like the item of the, you know, the varsity athlete, right? It's perfect. It's durable. It's spongy. It absorbs a lot of sweat, so it doesn't get visible and drip down everywhere. It's loose fitting, but also like conformed in such a way that you can move around, but it's not like catching on everything. Huh? I always thought hoodies came from sweatshirts, not the other way around. No, they did. This is something that people would do to alter it back into a sweatshirt. But yes, the very first hoodies, let me see if I can find this real quick. The very first hoodies were basically people just manually adding pockets and hoods onto their sweatshirts. And to illustrate that point, I have a delightful YouTube short from one Cowboy Crust, whose content I very much enjoy. I believe one of his earliest YouTube shorts is one where here we go, makes an after hood sweatshirt.
Here's how to take an old hoodie and a crew neck and make it into an after hood sweatshirt. The first thing you need to do is using a seam ripper, take off the front pocket.
Funny thing is, I'm actually pretty sure yeah, I have this this sweatshirt.
Here's how to take an old hoodie and a crew neck and make it into an after hood sweatshirt. The first thing you need to do is, using a seam ripper, take off the front pocket and the hood of the old hoodie. Take your time with this. You don't want to accidentally rip the pocket or the hood. Next, you're going to want to block out where everything goes. For the front pocket, you can either do one of these big ones or these split pockets, which I think are really cool. For this one though, I am going to do the big front kangaroo pouch, and a little hack for pinning it into place. Put a piece of hard plastic inside the hoodie, so that way your needle doesn't accidentally go through the...
It's kind of neat, but this is something you should do yourself, otherwise it just feels super fake. Well, we do buy clothing that is pre-distressed in various ways, you know? I don't expect everyone to know how to sew. That being said, I would love to do this one day, for sure. Yeah. I would love to DIY an aftermarket hoodie, find some nice, well-fitting cropped sweatshirt and, you know, borrow somebody's sewing machine or whatever.
The other side. Now, using a twin needle, I'm just going to sew the pocket down. And when you're finished, you might have some leftover fabric on the inside of the pocket. This is super easy with sweatshirts. You can just go right in and cut all that off. You don't have to worry about it fraying. Now it looks way cleaner. Here's how the front pocket looks right now, but I'm also going to do one thing by the opening of the pockets. On these corners, I'm going to go back and tack down some extra thread, just strengthen up those areas because they see a lot of use. Moving to the hood, I'm going to take a bunch of these clips, and then I'll turn the raw edges of the hood fabric in on itself, pin it into place, and iron everything down. Now switching back to a single needle on my machine, I'm going to do a very basic straight stitch right across the bottom of the hood. This is what it will look like when you're done, and now we pin the hood into place on the body of the sweatshirt. One thing to note here, the end of the hood should actually go below the collar of the sweatshirt. Here's a better look for reference, and then with the hood centered and everything pinned into place, I'm going to do a straight stitch twice across. One above the stitch we just made, and then one below. So in the end, you should have 3 stitches across your hood, and that's it. Here's your final result of an after hood hoodie. I love the style of those 1940s, 1950s sweatshirts, and if you don't want to make one
looks pretty cool, right? I'm pretty fond of this one right here. Polo Ralph Lauren makes good sweatshirts. Like, they just have a good line of sweatshirts. And both of these are from Polo Ralph Lauren. And I think they look really, really good. Like, zhuzhed up a little bit.
Yourself, I made 2 of these, and they're going to be on sale on my Instagram right now.
I think it's super cool. Anyway, let me get back to what I was doing. Do-do-do. Do-do-do. Andrew Alt, thank you for the $5. Aaron, thank you for the incredibly kind $20. I wonder if Ro Khanna will run for president 28. I would be more excited about him than a lot of other people. He has demonstrated a lot of initiative that is rare to most Democrats, even though he's not nearly as far left as I'd like. Rescriptor, thank you for the $10. I really appreciate that. Thank you, thank you. You know you always reserve a little doubt for the actual president of the free world doing sick things like this. Like, I always knew he was implicated, but actually seeing it is so unreal. I agree, I agree. And I think anyone who disagrees or is like, you should have already known this, is being cynical in a way that is damaging and callous. You know, it is obviously fucking insane how compromised Trump is, right? We don't need to pretend that we're above it or whatever. I certainly won't. Pale Magpie, thank you for the £5. Cullen Turner, thank you for the $5. X and Cullen Turner, thank you again. You're both being very kind to me. Thank you for the $10 both. I really, really appreciate that. Yeah, no, I thankfully I'm not in a position where I have to try to explain how bad Trump is to real life people, relatives, friends in my actual day-to-day life. But man, you guys have been pitched some pretty feisty family Christmas conversation, huh? The conservatives, I bet your chud boomer family members just don't want to talk about politics over dinner this year. Like, they were probably super hyped to talk about it last year, huh? Kamala Harris lost, Trump had won. Yeah, oh, you mad about the election, little guy? Ha ha ha. Bet they don't want to talk about it so much right now. An Actual Cloud, Madeline Gibson, and Tristan Harris, thank you for the $5 all. I really appreciate that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Luoji, thank you for the super kind $20. Vosh, thank you for always being ready to go live with news drops. I wish I was better about that, to be honest. I'm not very quick when it comes to, like, oh, news has happened, let me immediately stream. I sometimes I get blindsided. I'll never forget being woken up by my by Vermin, by my friend who I then at the time lived with, at like early in the morning because J6 was happening. Like, I was just going to sleep in that day. It was like, oh, I'll cover the Trump rally later. I got woken up like, hey, I think they're attacking the Capitol. I fucking, boing, I vaulted out of bed on that one. And that was my biggest stream ever. You know, it pays out. Ghost of Avalon and Victorious Garnosaurus and Ghost of Avalon again. Thank you for the $5 all. Sprinkled Fox, thank you for the $5. Snorcore and Prairie Fire, thank you for the $2 both. What are you going to do this Science Miss? Science teaches us to love too. I'm not changing my plans. 55445, thank you for the $5 dono. I really appreciate that. Thank you, thank you. Merry Christmas, Prairie Fire. Merry Christmas. And then the last few donos to the site. Rhaegar99, thank you for the $5. I'm hoping Ezra pens an article, Trump and Epstein practice pedophilia the right way to really kill off abundance liberalism. And kill off, I assume you mean. This one might be a touch beyond for even then. I've seen Iglesias. Fuck, I've even seen... Who's the retard who looks a little bit like Iglesias but is actually much worse? Michael Tracy. Even Michael Tracy has been like, guys, I don't know about this one lately. This one's making my tummy hurt, which is difficult because I bet that guy has a tummy like a goat. What the Dormouse said, thank you for the $10. Merry Christmas to you as well. That's right, we're Christian nationalists here. It's only Merry Christmas. No happy holidays, no happy Kwanzaa, no joyous, festive Hanukkah or whatever. It's just Christmas all the time here. We all have a little Christmas in our heart. All right, everyone. I love you all very much. I've got to go. Actually, I stayed too long, to be honest, but I enjoy this stream, and I enjoy your company. Everyone have a wonderful, wonderful Christmas Eve and Christmas. Try your best to get along with people, be social, even if it means, you know, just going out and going to a bar or something. Make sure you have some kind of plan for this, you know, for these 2 days, right? It's good for you. Even if the weather's bad, just find an opportunity to be social. Take care. I will see you guys either on the 26th or the 27th. It's just up to how the days play out. I can't make any promises. Take care.